And then something happened with the camera.
We had no video.
So I kind of mentioned to him, I was like, what do we want to do? Do we want to just skip it and hopefully they'll understand? And Mike says, nope, I'm getting in the shower. I'll be right up. The story behind this girl is what? Her first date, she went to the guy's house, right, and shit on his floor by accident. She was sick or something.
Yeah.
I won't be with anybody that doesn't let. Yeah. And that's what I've talked about in these past episodes. I'm not going to be with anybody that I have to put in any effort. If I have to get up and go into the toilet to take a shit, and she wants me to shit in her fucking toilet,
you shouldn't have to.
I'm out. I'm not going to stay in that type of relationship.
It's kind of selfish on their part of them to make you do that.
I absolutely agree. When I have to shit and we're watching a movie, the most I want to do is turn around and shit off the edge of the couch.
If you're in a good part, you don't want to leave. You don't want to have to pause it. It's a lot.
And I'll tell you right now, any woman that makes me go to the bathroom during a good movie when I have to shit, not the girl for me.
To have some fun?
It just ain't going to work out.
Because I am.
Gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's time to kick ass.
Anything could happen.
Oh, that is gross. Do you think you can handle it?
Make some noise!
Welcome back and forth with Mike and Wes. Mike, that is.
Wes, would you try to throw me off today?
Yeah, a little bit. Last minute deal because I've thrown everything off so far that we've started with this fucking episode because it's Wednesday, the 8th of December. The Thursday episode comes out.
Yeah, why am I here again today? I'm curious.
Well, because
I feel like I was here yesterday. This is like deja vu.
I feel like you were too.
Could you enlighten me a little bit?
For whatever reason. Well, first of all, I forgot to push the record button on the mixer for the audio. So we could have at least had that had I remembered to do that. But in the middle of recording yesterday for this episode, I realized that if I didn't have the video recording there, I could just rip the audio off of the camera.
Correct.
So we said, fuck it, no big deal.
But you caught it about halfway
right.
through.
I noticed it, but it was too late.
Deal. I'll just
right.
rip the audio.
I'll use the audio that the camera is recording. Fine, we're all good there. So today, I get up to do all the editing and post the video and the audio. And at that point, I kind of waited. Usually, I do the audio that night.
Yeah, but you had ordered food and you were ready.
Right. I was like, oh, fuck it. Everything's good. We've been rolling along. Everything's been working fine with this stuff. So I said to hell with it. So I wake up this morning and I come up here to start editing. And lo and behold, we don't have the audio because I forgot that. That was my fault. And then something happened with the camera.
We had no video.
We had only the video from The Rock interview when he was here.
Which you already deleted once.
Which I deleted because I do that every time the same way. So I know I deleted it. I do everything the same way. I deleted all those files. I put them back in. Those were the only files in there.
That's
I don't know. I must have screwed up something. I mean, the technology only does it what you tell it to. I must have screwed up something, but I did everything the way I normally do it. I don't understand it. So with that said, it is now the 8th of December. Mike is back here for 2 days in a row.
Thank you for your goodbye speech, Bub. That's all I need from you. You're excused now.
He fired me this morning. He's going to let us get through this episode.
Anybody listening, I'm looking for a co-host / editor. I know Wes usually is, but now trust me, I don't make mistakes like this.
We were both pissed.
He can't be as perfect as me, unfortunately.
He was pissed because he had to come back up here. I was pissed because, not that I minded him coming up here, but just that we have to do all this again. But, maybe this is what's supposed to happen. Maybe that episode yesterday would have just something wrong with it or something. Maybe this
made me bring the new light up.
Oh, yeah, we got the new Mike's mom got us where was she? Florida? When she got
Florida.
that? Yeah,
Yep.
She thought of us in Florida, so I think that's cool. So we got that going now.
New little light going. Yep, I like it.
So
Looks
I guess
good.
I got the audio a little bit better here, I think. So I don't know. Maybe this was a good thing. It just sucks that he had to keep driving up here.
You got rid of the hum.
Oh, yes. For the most part, if you crank it up enough, it's there, but not nearly what it was before. In fact,
What level are we at right now? About 6, 7?
we are at... Wait a minute.
Don't change it, but
I know. We had it all. just below 6 on the gain.
Oh, okay.
So we got to remember
yeah,
that.
it sounds better. And
I
it's
turned
lower
our
than-
headphones up a little bit so it makes up for it. I didn't want to go too high with the gain because then you start to hear all the smacking and breathing and stuff. And so
We just
and
won't,
I
we just
turned
won't
down-
breathe then. That's all.
I turned the volume down for the camera because it was getting too loud and it was starting to sound distorted and stuff. So I think we got audio pretty well figured out here. So we're rolling along. It only took us.
We had 2 days to figure it out, so I hope we got it.
That's right. It only took us a couple tries here, but we got it. For
I already
sure.
told them if this doesn't work, I am not coming back tomorrow. So
We're just gonna. Well,
everybody
I said the same
listening,
thing.
unfortunately,
We're gonna miss an episode if that's okay. But I'll tell you what, Mike was on it. I told him, I said, "What do we want to do, Bob?" It was getting late today. We're running out of time. I'm gonna have just enough time to get this stuff on YouTube before the release.
You're going to be up till probably midnight as it is.
It'll probably go through just as it's time for people to start listening to it. So it's gonna be. So I kind of mentioned to him, I was like, what do we want to do? Do we want to just skip it and hopefully they'll understand? And Mike says, nope, I'm getting in the shower, I'll be right up. So that's pretty cool. That makes me feel good that the co-host is in it as much as I am and as much as you guys like to listen. No, I gotta do what I gotta do is basically what he said. I'll be up.
Realistically, I know he got pizza last night and he's got to have some left over, so I'm really just here to eat that.
No, I threw it out before you got here.
No, you
because I
probably
knew
did.
you were coming.
Yeah, or you probably just shoved it in your gullet. Figure Mike's coming. I'm not letting him have any of that.
That's right.
I
No,
still
there
had
is
to
some.
stop, get my own drink. He buys
You should
something to
remember
drink and leaves it.
Remember you were going to leave the drink here last
I
night?
should've.
You should have. That would have less thing.
I got weird after that. Like the lady that rung me out when I was down there too. I
the pizza. So when we left here, so this is another thing. I had this on camera and on audio. We called the pizza place on air and ordered pizza, which was kind of cool. But then she brought up, she said, "What's your phone number?" I'm like, "Oh Jesus!"
Well, you don't have to worry about anybody getting that
right.
now.
So then from here, so I ordered pizza, then he ordered pizza, but he ordered a little after me. So we both left here in our own cars and went down and got pizza. And so I forgot the Pepsi. I've been all screwed up here. I got a bottle of Pepsi in my pizza, left the Pepsi sitting on the counter. So that sucked. And Mike had to wait. So why did that girl weird you out? Which one? The lady that worked there?
The older lady that was ringing me out, and it's probably nothing. It's just me. Like, so I walk over after like 50. It was probably 10 minutes after you left, roughly. I had to wait for mine because it wasn't ready. I go to walk by the doors, and I happen to look over, and I see a Pepsi there. Now I saw you grab it and pay for it, and I saw you carry it over there. So I knew you set it there, and it was yours. So then I see it. Then I call and tell you, okay, I'm coming back for it. Well, now it looks like basically to me, you said bring it out to me, which I did. But it looks like basically I'm grabbing a thing of 2-liter Pepsi and walking out with it.
Right.
This lady's like, so she's looking at me funny now after I give it to you.
Like you took my soda.
Almost like I stole it is how I felt.
because
Like
you didn't pay for one, but yet you're walking out the door with a Pepsi.
exactly, and
right.
of course it was gonna be no big deal. They got cameras in there. I'd be like, look at your cameras. My buddy,
I would have just come in, checked my credit card, check. I mean, it would have worked out. It just
but it was and she probably wasn't. Even, maybe she looked at me weird because I'm a funny looking guy. But
Probably.
in my head, I just got going. I'm like, she thinks.
Well,
I
did you
probably
see
stole
that
this
old
soda.
lady that was also a customer there? And when I paid and
Yes.
backed up,
She left shortly after you. She was getting a sub.
she said something. There was that old guy was at the counter. Apparently they weren't together. I thought they were. And the lady said something to me, here, sign this or something. I signed the thing and I set the pen back on the table. And when I backed up, I looked over at her and she was shaking her head. Almost like that old lady look where they're like, you did something wrong or they're irritated with something you did. So, and I'm trying to think when I'm standing there. I didn't never mention this to you last night, but I'm trying to
Yeah,
think.
you didn't say anything to me.
What the hell did I do wrong that made this lady? Sometimes you don't have to. I mean, it's
Apparently
just a
being
Karen,
there- being there,
basically.
maybe?
Yeah, but I look back and she's like scowling, like she had her lips all scrunched up. You could see it on the camera, but her eyes were like rolled.
It doesn't take much to piss them type of people off.
Jesus. And so now the whole way I'm like, what the hell did I do wrong? I don't understand. I'm trying to think of maybe did I fucking kick her by accident or
Right.
punch her in the face by accident on the way through? I can't remember.
Mind you, we talk about an arm and a leg down there. $84 worth of food. Well, to be exact, it was $83.12. But
That place is not the way it used to be.
oh my god,
The lady
so
that rung
if you guys are listening, we're going to start a Patreon, and that's solely
so
to-
we can afford pizza.
exactly because we like pizza sometimes, but we can't afford it. At
Oh, that's
Paisanos
another
all
thing.
the
We
time.
talked about so much shit yesterday.
Yeah, it's all down the
Yep.
tubes.
All down the tubes. We got to start all over. So the girl that checked us out, I've never seen her before, and she was kind of a goth. Like I talk about how it's kind of.
Her name was Paris.
That's a cool name.
I like that
That's
name.
a cool name. Yeah, it's something different. It's a little bit different. She was good enough. I think she was good looking.
Now, once she came out from behind the counter, she came out to get a soda out of the thing after you had left.
Mm-hmm.
Nah.
Really?
She had, and nothing against this, but she had like sweatpants on, and it was one of those. She was.
You
like,
have sweatpants on.
She was like skinny, and then she like come out.
I don't like that.
Yeah, it was.
That's a big thing now.
was
People
awkward. She
People
was
like
awkward.
girls with big asses. So you like I see like It's typically like what Latino girls or like I don't know. I get like Puerto Rican girls like J-Lo. You know, that was a big thing. Well, that's like coming like a big thing now. I don't like it. It's to the point where it almost looks unhuman. Like some of the girls are so skinny they come down and then their ass goes way
like
out.
Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, exactly. I think that is so unattractive. I don't understand but I mean, there's people that are into it.
People like it. They're not
Good for them because they need love too. But they ain't gonna get it from me.
Well, they wouldn't get it from you regardless. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah, that's true. I don't.
But yeah, anyway,
I don't just give love out.
I know. We talked. You were like, yeah, she'd be cool for hang out and at the shop, have some beers and hang out. And then I was like, yeah. And then after I saw that, I was like,
no good.
Nah,
good.
She's not coming to the candy shop.
Do you remember?
We revoked your invite, Paris. Sorry.
That's out. That's out.
If you're listening.
Do you remember 2 episodes ago? Last one was The Rock, which I think did good. I don't know if these guys caught that one, but he had a lot of good information. I thought it went well. The one before that we talked about, was that the one we talked about, the girl that had 2 vaginas?
I believe so.
Episode 10,
I'll be honest with you, it's hard to keep up because even though we're only at episode 11, this will be 12. But in those 12 episodes, well, about to be 12.
We talk about so much.
So much. I can't
remember where it was.
If you asked me, do you remember saying that in the first episode? I'd be like, fuck no. I have no clue. Unless I go back and listen to it, I have no clue what is in
when these release at midnight, I try to stay up and make sure everything releases and goes smooth.
Because we text each other every time.
When I go to Spotify, last time I did that for the Rocks episode, I clicked on the wrong one. Instead of 11, I clicked on 1 real quick, just looking at it quick. And I let it go for a little while because I was like, oh, that's our first. There's
a huge audio difference.
Well, the audio difference is
not even comparable.
But the just the stuff we were talking about, like, oh, I don't even remember talking about that. That was, it was kind of like a memory thing, even though it was only, imagine when we get to 100 episodes.
Well, we already discussed maybe doing it at some point, maybe put pieces together of all the episodes. But.
Something, yeah, we'll do something. I think what we should do too, like 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, or we might have mentioned this, or 100 or even 50, because that's a pretty big accomplishment.
50 what?
Episodes. Most podcasts, from what I understand.
I thought you were going to say subscribers. I'm like, Bub, we're well past that. We were past that in the first hour.
From what I understand, most podcasts go about 7 or 8 episodes, and then people give up. So to get to 50 is a pretty good accomplishment, I think, to keep going and pushing along.
I agree.
Especially with shit like this. And I know this is going to happen again. It's just a matter of time. Something's going to happen.
I'll tell you right now, if it happens again, it won't be you the third time that's doing it.
It'll be somebody else screwing it up.
Trust me. I'll tell you right now.
Oh, God, you're not that guy, pal.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Oh, here we go. God, he knows where those buttons and sounds are, though. He can't fucking record audio or video, but he sure knows where his sounds are.
I change them around so much, I don't even know where they are anymore.
He writes them on a notepad to remember, and then he doesn't look in the notepad, and he just hits any button anyway.
Well, I just want it to be freer. You know what I mean? I don't want to have to look up with the sound I'm putting. Listen, 2 episodes ago, I'm going to go with this. Episode 10, we talked about the lady, they had 2 vaginas.
And we were going to look her up on OnlyFans.
We didn't. I didn't. Did you?
No, I didn't.
No, cheap fuck.
I think we looked it up. I think it was $10 to subscribe or whatever.
Oh, yeah, after the show, you brought...
But we never actually subscribed.
I think we were kind of like, fuck it. It says, what are you going to do? See 2 vaginas?
I could probably go on to Google and type in girl with 2 vaginas and see
it probably would show. Yep.
Quite honestly, I have all I can do to handle 1, so why do I care about 2 anyway? Fuck it.
Right. Apparently, that's a bigger thing. A lot of people have that.
Really?
Well, not a lot. I say a lot, like 70% of us. But I guess there's more people. It's a thing. It's an actual thing, and it's not like a once in a lifetime thing. There's other people. There's a handful of people that have them.
There's people born without one.
Well, and that's what brings us right. It's very true. So this woman who was born without a vaginal opening, reveals how she had to make her own by inserting tubes that slowly widened the fingernail-sized space.
Perfect size for you.
Over 9 traumatic months. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, she should have left it.
Yeah, fingernail size? Damn.
Well, at least I could have felt something.
Well, you still might have had to go in a circular motion to hit the sides, but either way...
They call that edging?
You would have felt like a little bit of a man.
Sure.
A little bit of man.
Oh, yeah, I see what you did there. Funny. Real funny.
Yeah, I'm witty.
Allie...
I've had 2 days to practice. I ought to get this right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. We already went over most of this. Allie Hensley, although this is a different article, though, so it's reading different. Allie Hensley, 39, from Berkshire, was born without womb, cervix, and vagina. So she has no parts in there. Nothing. No womb. That's a funny word.
That's odd.
Nothing.
I've never heard of anything like this. But.
She was diagnosed with... Now, this I did try to say yesterday, and it was hard then, and it's still hard, because I don't know how this is... Mayer
Looks like
Rokotansky, R-O-K.
I was going to say Rokotansky.
Rokotansky, so that's fine. I'll go with that. Rokiitansky dash Custer-Hauser syndrome. When she was 16, she was diagnosed. Well,
that
she
big
must have
fancy
known,
word means born without a vagina. So
yeah, she must
to be
have known.
in layman's terms.
At 16, she was like, "What's going on here? I'm not like the rest, I guess." I'm assuming
She didn't figure this out before 16, though.
What's when I say she must have known?
Not trying to sound like creepy or weird, but it doesn't take till 16 to figure out that you don't have a vagina.
I don't know.
Like,
I don't understand. Maybe that's when she finally went to the doctor.
Yeah,
or whatever.
maybe it wasn't a concern. I guess maybe she wasn't active, so she was like, "I don't give a shit. I don't have to worry about it."
No, she knows now. She's 39. She knows now.
Yeah, she does.
She said it was traumatic to learn she'd never be able to experience pregnancy or childbirth. That sucks. I didn't think of that.
You
That
imagine
sucks
if
for
she's
her.
married, her husband getting it for the first time for like, oh baby,
I'm sure
nice
there's
and fresh.
There's Jesus Christ. I guess there should be something.
Fresh off the pot.
There's got to be something that
Freshly made pussy here.
Well, I guess he could have helped her design it, so it worked out.
Yeah,
He just
could
make
have
it the
made
way he wants.
Yeah, whatever he wants.
No, honey, leave it alone. I like it like that.
No, put the lips up in.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. She so apparently she said it's traumatic to learn she'd never be able to experience pregnancy or childbirth and to lose her virginity to Pyrex cylinders. I don't know what that is. I feel like that's something that a woman would know from like the gynecologist or something. I feel like I'm guessing here, but I'm thinking that that's like a tool that they use.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm not a doctor. That's why I'm here trying to do a podcast to make a living.
But that's what it said, right?
And apparently we
I
can't
certainly
do that.
can't. OnlyFans isn't going to work for us, and neither is doctor.
Well, we never gave it really a shot. We didn't try the OnlyFans.
I don't think I could do it because I don't know. I don't want people watching me.
Why?
Well, when guys do it, it's typically...
Just think of a guy jerking off to you.
Okay, and that's why I haven't done one right there. I mean,
You'll never know.
Not that I would never know, but shit, there probably already is. I don't know. But
don't flatter yourself. Not with that hat and that gut, they're not.
What gut? That's my coat. That's my goddamn sweatshirt.
I've noticed
Don't give me a fucking...
you always wear black. You know they say that's the thinning color.
You literally have everything black on right now. A black
It's the
sweatshirt, black pants,
shoes.
black shoes.
It's the thinning color. That's why I wear it.
Well,
if I turn sideways,
you should layer up.
If I turn sideways, you can't even see me.
So that's like fat guy camo. Basically,
Exactly.
is what you got going on.
Exactly. I mean, looking at me, you could see me. But if I was to turn sideways, I'd disappear.
She said my dimple, as they commonly call it, was extremely underdeveloped. If I wanted to have a normal sex life and reclaim my female body, I would have to create my very own custom-made vagina.
That sounds cool. I don't
She's
give a
pretty
shit.
hot. I mean, I don't think she is, but she's like good
Imagine
looking.
saying this. Hey, how are you? This is my wife Susie. She has a custom-made vagina. I'd be like, what? I'd be
You
like,
you don't go to a Christmas party and
why
fucking
not?
bring up.
The one girl talked about shitting on a man's bed and stuff.
Oh, do we have that article? That was a good one.
We could find it.
Bring that up, will you? Because
But-
that was another good one. Because I want to get your.
I'd be like, hey, Bob, check out Jamie, custom-made vagina here. You want to see it? Created
Well,
it
of course.
myself.
And you know, at that point, it's nothing like girls that have pierced nipples. You don't pierce them fucking nipples if you don't plan on showing people, or else
at
why would
least-
you bother
at
go
least-
through it?
At least talking about them, you're going to tell people you got it done.
Right, and so you go to the bar, and these girls that have that done, it's always the same thing. I got my well, let me see. No, I can't do that. Well, then what did you bother for? What's that vibrating?
Potential scam. Yesterday was Jamaica. Today's
The same thing yesterday.
Would somebody release my phone number I don't know about? Did you give Paisanos my number and now they leaked it?
I don't know. They haven't leaked mine yet.
Yeah, because you give them mine, asshole.
That's probably right.
Yeah, she's not terrible looking.
Not bad. I mean, Allie went on to explain that for 9 traumatic months, morning and night, she would insert pink hard tubes into the fingernail-sized dimple and push hard. Oh, God, I don't know if I even want to read anymore.
Doesn't sound pleasant.
She added that eventually the routine would create her vagina.
So anyway, she didn't need her husband anymore, so they're divorced.
Even 23 years on, Allie says it's still something she often thinks about. I will never forget the position I had to get into to force a
I'd love to
dilator
see that position.
into my body, flat on my back. This is solid news. I mean, this is a real...
Maybe she's flexible, whatever position she's getting in.
This is an actual news thing. This ain't even a joke either. But let's see. Consumed with shame and trauma as a young woman, Allie struggled to come to terms with the thing. I get that. You wouldn't, as a, I don't know how a girl feels, but I'm assuming, if you go in a locker room at school and everybody else has one, you kind of like, what the fuck is going on? Plus,
what was that girl's name yesterday? You Googled her. Remember you were...
Ken Urich. Because
Urich?
I've seen her on TikTok before. She's hot.
You remembered that fast.
She's hot. She's a very good looking girl.
How do you spell her last name?
EURICH. Want her address?
Please.
No, I don't know that.
Kind of threw me off guard for a minute. I had to think about that. Like, wait a minute.
Maybe he really has it. When you get that up, put that in the notes so that I can pull it up too. But the story behind this girl is what? Her first date, you know more about it than me, but her first date, actually, I don't even need to put it up. You can do it. But she went to the guy's house, right, and shit on his floor by accident. She was sick or something.
Yeah. I can't believe it. Can't believe it.
Did you find it?
I got it.
What's it say there? Anything? Anything pertinent?
I just put it in the notes.
All right.
So let's see.
Let's see if I can pull it up too.
Let's see here.
Oh, it's going to take a while, I guess.
No, it should be. There it goes.
There it goes.
So, oh, look at this. This is updated now from yesterday, apparently, because it says a TikTok user has been urged to marry the man she's dating after sharing a mortifying tale from their most recent evening. So
I say the same thing.
We were talking yesterday, though. Remember, we were like, well, did she stay with him? And we couldn't find. This must be updated.
See what
or
I
a
mean?
different article.
This issue that we had was for a reason. Now we can give these people what happened.
Well, we did yesterday, but we just couldn't verify if they were still together or not because we didn't look that much into
Before I read this, I don't know if they are yet, but I hope
They
that
are,
they are.
apparently.
And I said that
it. It
yesterday.
says she's being urged to marry him, the guy that she's dating. So they're dating. Now people are saying they need to get married.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you shit at somebody's house and they still stay with each other, that's pretty
That's
fucking
marriage.
Yeah, you got to. I mean,
There's nothing going to break that
right.
up.
What are you going to do that's going to throw that person off besides that? So apparently, what was the deal? Does it say in there
She meets a new guy. She'd be like, "Man, I really like you. You should leave your boyfriend or husband for me." She'd be like, "Are you going to let me shit on your floor in your bed?
Can I shit
and stay with me?
Right.
Fuck no. Okay, then I don't want you because my husband lets me do that.
Right.
So I want to stay with him.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
I won't be with anybody that doesn't let.
Yeah.
And that's what I've talked about in these past episodes. I'm not going to be with anybody that I have to put in any effort. If I have to get up and go into the toilet to take a shit, and she wants me to shit in
That's
her
too
fucking
much.
toilet,
You shouldn't have to.
I'm out. I'm not going to stay in that type of relationship.
It's kind of selfish on their part
I
of
agree.
them to make you do that.
I absolutely agree. When I have to shit and we're watching a movie, the most I want to do is turn around and shit off the edge of the couch.
If you're in a good part, you don't want to leave. You don't want to have to pause it. It's
Absolutely.
It's a lot.
And I'll tell you right now, any woman that makes me go to the bathroom during a good movie when I have to shit, not the girl for me.
Yeah, absolutely. It just ain't going to work out.
So this is good that those two are together.
So you actually have some stuff in common with her, apparently.
I'm telling you.
Jeez, maybe you should have her over.
She's got a guy's name. You know how much I like that.
Yeah. Well, it's actually Kennedy Urich, but
I like Kennedy.
Kennedy's not bad.
I don't like that they call her Ken.
Ken for short, but
That's kind of too manly.
anyway, into this article. Initially, she claims to have said that she didn't want to go. So what happened? This guy wanted her to come over and hang out. They started. They weren't dating, obviously, at this point. He wants her to come over. He keeps asking.
I want to fuck.
Exactly. That's what he said. That's what got it started.
That's right.
He basically sent her that message.
I want to fuck.
Yep. Sounds just like him too, actually.
It is, does it?
I think that's actually
That's him. I went right. I got.
You pulled
his.
it right off
Yep,
there.
I met him.
So it was a Friday evening. He kept, hey, come on over, come on over. She claims she didn't feel well, so she didn't want to. But she said he was persistent and offered to make her soup and take care of her. So eventually she gave in. Fair enough. Figured, whatever.
Now she must. First of all, let's break this down piece by piece.
Absolutely.
She must really like this guy. She knew she was sick. She knew she had things going on with her fucking bowels. So, and she
Maybe-
went over there anyway.
Maybe he makes good soup.
You'd have to make goddamn good soup to get me out of the house.
It's
when I
not
was
just
feeling
ramen,
like
I
that.
can tell you that.
No, it's got to be real
It's gotta
homemade
be more than
chicken
that.
noodle soup.
But
or
I
something.
agree with that. She must actually be into him to sacrifice all of that and still go.
There's girls that won't. Because they have to take a shower. They don't want to hang out.
Yeah, you can't get a text back. This guy's got a girl shitting on his floor.
Right.
So I don't know.
What am I doing wrong?
Yeah, I can't figure it out.
What am I doing wrong?
But so anyway, she says, sure, she's regretting the decision right about now, as what happened will haunt her. So to get into it, I didn't feel good, and I tell him that. And after I eat the soup this man had made for me, I'm like, oh, I should have done that. My stomach is too weak.
I've had them. Well, you eat, and like 15 minutes later, it's when you're sick like that.
It hits you.
Yep.
It's like, uh-oh. You get that rumbling. You're like,
Yep.
uh-oh.
And she knew this. She
Are
hadn't
you
seen
even
him
going to make
anyway.
it to the toilet? In this case,
it's a tough. Do you run because you have to get there right away?
no, you can't run
But
because
if you
you're
run,
going to shake it up even more.
It's a catch-22 of life.
You can't run.
If
You'll
you
shake it
run
up.
and not you're using muscles and shit, you'll squirt it out. But if you don't run, are you gonna fucking make it? What do you do? You don't have time.
Maybe you do a fast-paced walk or like
You have to.
a brisk walk.
Almost like them
kind of one of
people
those
that-
where your ass is going, you're doing one of these, but you're
Like
not.
a fast walker on the side of the road or on
Yeah,
a track or
yeah.
something. You got to do like that. The little steps, but move them as quickly as
It's
you
a
can.
happy medium, you
Right.
see. So anyway, she's squatting on the floor because she must not feel well from the pain or whatever. She's over a bucket getting sick, and she farted.
So she got a bucket on one end and she's shitting on the other.
Well, she farted. So, well, as it turns out...
Oh, that's why she was squatting. I was going to say, if you had the time and the effort to sit down and squat, why couldn't she at least try to get to the bathroom? You don't, like, pull your pants down and squat on the living room
Apparently
floor.
she felt so ill, and he just gave her a bucket.
Well, I know when you puke, like, all your body goes, your muscles all go. So I can see this happening when she pukes.
She says, I say to him, I almost shit myself because I know I like him, or because I know him like that, and I go to the bathroom. So she says to him,
we all shit.
I almost shit. Well, next thing you know, she comes back, and he's kicking something on the floor that he thinks is mud. How does this happen? I don't know. That's what he said. He thought it was mud. So he's
bullshit. It wasn't
kicking
there
around
before.
he's kicking around like a soccer ball, just kind of going, "Hey, look at this."
Not to mention, mud doesn't. If you have mud on your shoes, it like leaves a splat. or
Not to
whatever.
mention,
Not a
mud
splat.
doesn't always smell like shit.
Right. Well, it doesn't curl up like a fucking chocolate ice cream cone either.
And have eyeballs and a tongue sticking out like the emoji.
That's right. So when you look at that and there's eyeballs, tongue, and it's curled up like a fucking chocolate softie, how do you not think you just
Like
kick that?
a Wendy's Frosty.
Not to mention, if I find a chunk that size of mud in my house, kicking it isn't going to solve the problem. It's just going to spread the fuck around my living room.
Yeah, wouldn't you get like a
Right.
broom or
you
a
would pick it up
vacuum?
there in one spot instead of kicking it. Now you got to pick it up off the couch, the wall.
So
the
realistically, if
fucking
you think
curtains.
about it, this is this guy's fault, kind of. Like now he didn't have to do this. Why?
Well, he kept asking her to come over
Exactly. And it's probably his soup
because he's
that did
fucking
it.
pushy.
Yeah,
is what it is.
He's selfish. He didn't care about
Yeah, and
her.
it could have been his fucking soup, to be honest. Maybe he put something in it.
Yep.
Maybe this was a plan.
But he didn't care about her feelings or that she was
Apparently
sick.
not.
All he wanted her over there because he wanted to fuck.
That's right.
That's all it comes down to.
I want to fuck.
That's all he could think about.
Exactly, and that's all he kept saying to her. And she gave in though.
Well, so was it his fault? I mean, she could have kept saying no.
Anyway, she ended up shitting on his floor. He kicks it around thinking it's mud.
I know,
but the story
something's fishy.
Listen, the story doesn't end here. It gets better. I know this is taking a while, but stay with me here. Stay with me. It's worth it. It's
All
worth
right.
it. It's gross, but it's worth it.
All right.
So anyway, she goes on to say that her date cleaned up the mess like a true gentleman, and she was mortified. Obviously, I could imagine she is. But the story doesn't end. The pair are sitting in bed, horsing around and laughing, and the guy playfully gives her a little shove, and neither of them were prepared for what came next.
Oh, my God.
Even though I feel great, I kind of tooted when he hit me, she explains. Tooted, that's kind of a cool word.
Well, that's the cutest way you could put it. When
That you shit on
that
somebody's
I shit
floor.
down
Yeah.
my fucking leg.
Yeah, I tooted on your floor.
We
Like,
know
no,
it was
you
liquid.
shit on my floor.
We know it was liquid.
Had to have
When
been.
you get sick like that, it's fucking liquid. It's like coffee.
Which
out your
again,
ass.
how do you mistake that for mud?
Right.
That's water at that
Yeah.
point.
All of a sudden, you have a fucking puddle forming in your living room. I
What,
mean,
you got a fucking natural spring in your living
yeah, it
room?
just seeps up from downstairs.
out
no,
of
it's
nowhere?
Shit. You have fucking shit.
So she says, I would love to tell you it was just an innocent toot. I full-blown shit myself. And when I say shit myself, I mean all through my pajamas, down my leg, all on this man's bed, and on his wall. Could you fucking imagine? She goes,
no.
It's so fucking embarrassing. I don't know if I'll ever be able to recover from it. Well, you're dating him, so
Yeah.
you obviously did all right.
Well, maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's why she's with him, because she can't live with herself with anybody else, and she's already gone through it with this guy. Boys, nothing brings a relationship together better than shitting on a fucking floor. I'll tell you that right now.
And it says
Next
here-
girl I meet, I'm shitting right in her floor. If she don't like it, then I know
first
it ain't
date.
right.
First date. Hey, you want to come over, go out to dinner? Take her to a nice dinner. You don't want to like right off the rip, I guess. So go somewhere nice for a dinner.
Yep.
Bring her back to your place or her. Actually, you should go to her place. It would be even better yet.
Well, then I don't have to clean shit up off my floor.
And you can test the waters right in her
Right.
house. And when you get there, just tell her, "Oh, I'm not feeling well. I got to go to the bathroom," and then just shit right on her floor.
Yeah, don't. Right, and that will
Like
test
make
out.
eye contact. Look right. And be like, "I have to shit."
You
Take
like
your-
babies do, where you like crunch down, and your
Yes.
muscles go while
Just-
you're shitting.
and make eye contact with her.
Yes.
it's better that way.
To the point, you want her to ask. I want her to ask me, "Are you shitting on my floor right now?"
Yeah.
I want that to be so clear.
And of course, what do you think I'm doing?
Yes.
Doesn't everybody?
Absolutely.
Ask Ken Urich. what do you not?
Ask
What do
Kennedy.
you not
This
read
is-
the internet? What the
Yeah,
fuck
this
is going
the
on?
new thing now. Get with the fucking times. What are you? 60?
You don't realize it yet, baby. But we're gonna get married after this.
So I guess they went on to get married, huh?
Well, they didn't get married yet, but they're saying
They're saying that that's what they're. But they've been together since. Does this have a
it
date
doesn't
on
give
this?
doesn't give me a time for that. but-
December 3rd is the date of the article, but I don't know if that's when. Oh, it was updated December 5th.
However-
I got to say it was somewhat close. Well, we don't know
You don't
because she
know.
talks about a date. They could have been together 2 years ago, and this happened on their first date 2 years ago. So I don't know how long they've been together. But either way,
Remember we were talking, though, you were saying, why would she tell the whole world this or whatever? And then you get looking, though, and she's like, wow, she's got a lot of viewers.
she's got 1 million. Yeah, we looked it up yesterday. She has almost 1 million. She's like 997,000 followers on TikTok.
Well, it says here that video, it went viral of her doing it. It's been viewed and watched over 2 million times.
So 2 million people have watched her talk about shitting on the floor. I wish I had that TikTok, but she's got so many of them, I'll never be able to find it.
Some people come, I would disappear and never come back. I would disappear without a trace. Absolutely.
Well, that's kind of what you were saying. Like, regardless, even if the other person didn't care, I would have cared, and I wouldn't have been able to live with myself to come back and see that person.
Another person says my jaw was on the floor, and the only thing I'm thinking is you probably don't want your jaw on the floor around Ken Ure.
Not a place to be, right, at this guy's house. Not a place to have
Not
your jaw.
with her around because, things happen.
Yeah. I just can't believe he thought it was mud.
How do you do that?
I mean, if mud isn't there one point and then there is mud there after another point, it's all in my mind. It's like, so this is something suspicious. This is a little sus. I would have thought right there.
Absolutely, I agree.
Something's going on. This is either shit or I have I have a spring. I have a natural spring coming up through the floor. Anyway, I guess that's we have to always, for some reason, we have to talk about shit in these podcasts at least one time or another.
It's the way you know what? It's just the way the world works.
Well, it is. I mean, these bring for some interesting topics, I guess. I have something here. I haven't really read into this too much, so I want to see. So we talked about, let's see, a woman who works for sex toy company shares strangest questions from customers. I didn't see on here the questions.
Oh, I'd like to see the questions. This could be good.
I guess the most interesting thing is that every person who wants to ask us a question thinks they're the first person to pose such a question. That almost goes with like dad jokes, like dumb dad jokes. People say these same jokes over and over again. It's like it's kind of dumb. It has been a long time since we've heard anything we haven't heard before. Now, let's see. Where's a question? Oh, we've
had unsuspecting husbands think our LELO smart wand massager is a blender, and some of them tried to use it.
Wow.
Boy, can you imagine how their wife must have felt?
Oh, I can see, because by the looks of that thing, it does look like one of them. Remember, for a little while, it was like a long thing, and you had a blade on the bottom, and you could put it in and like move it up and down in the glass. Mm-hmm. It does kind of look like one of them. But hey, women put some weird shit in them.
I guess.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, geez, I don't know.
God, some of the guys I see girls with are the same thing.
Mishaps with pets. Could you imagine?
We have heard odd mishaps with pets. Again, more times than you would imagine, and some of these pets were very exotic ones. Listen, you had an article, I don't know if it's still there, about a Craigslist ad. The girl...
It's not there, but we could probably find it.
And I know enough about it.
Remember, that was a trans. It was a trans.
Oh, it was a... Wait, was it... Yeah, but was it a girl and then turned to a guy? Or it was?
I think so.
Okay. So, anyway, there was an article on Craigslist. Maybe Mike's looking up. I don't know if he's looking it up. Either way, we could talk about it. She put an article on Craigslist looking for a horse to have sex with. Is that correct? I mean, is it that simple? That's what it was?
Pretty much that's the gist of it. I mean, yeah.
There was from what I remember, there was an undercover sting because she had done this for a couple years, if I remember right, and she'd been putting these things. So Craigslist got rid of all that. You can't get like prostitutes and hookers anymore on Craigslist because of that reason. But apparently you can still get farm animals. Can you imagine the picture that they showed? She was little. Like 90, 95 pounds, 100 pounds. She was almost the size of that horse's dong.
Yeah, at least.
So,
could you imagine?
Yeah.
I want to fuck.
That's what the horse said in his neigh voice.
I guess
of course.
so.
He was neighing. Well, he was probably neighing after.
Did you find it? I see
it's
lean
in there.
back. Oh, is it? All right.
Anyway, I got to admit.
Oh, there it is. Yep.
I got to admit, not very attractive. The poor horse that had to. I'm glad they caught it before it happened, because that horse would never live this down.
That's right.
Imagine getting around his other buddies. They'd be like, dude, you did what?
That's like the nights where you're really drunk and you take somebody home, but then you don't sleep with them, and next morning you're like, God, I'm glad that didn't happen.
Wake up and you're just like, whew, I dodged one there.
Yeah, I'm glad I just went to bed.
Thank you, Lord, you saved me today.
Yep, the one time being
I mean,
super
you haven't
drunk.
had those moments, but if somebody did...
Yes, I have. Yeah, thank God.
You usually have them where you wake up and you're like, oh, my God, did it again, Bob.
What the fuck did I do?
Yeah.
Let's see. A 22-year-old Arizona woman was arrested on bestiality charges after she placed an ad on Phoenix Craigslist looking for a horse to engage in sexual activity with. The trans woman, whose legal name is Donald Waldy, something.
Waldy. That's what I said yesterday.
Waldy, is it? Waelde, was busted by the Maricopa County
As you-
Sheriff's Office for placing an ad for someone who owned a horse on which to commit the act of fellatio. So she didn't want to fuck this horse. She just wanted to suck it off, I guess, apparently.
Holy shit, you're just really gay.
From what I understand.
Well, that's what it sounds like to me. It looks like it's saying let me see.
I can't tell.
April 8th stated, this is published on April 8th, so posting it. I'm 22 years old and I want to play with a male horse. Simple as that. If you have access to a male horse and can allow me to access to a male horse, then contact me, please. I will do something in return. So is she going to do something in return to the owner as well?
That's what I'm wondering. Is it like more of a threesome?
Because if that's the case, I'm kind of pissed off I didn't have a horse.
Mm-hmm. If I owned a horse and this girl got a hold of me and was like, listen, I want to have sex with your horse and I'll do something to you to make it up, I would be like, nay on that. I'm not going to do that.
I see what you did there. Huh?
I kid. That's a little equine humor for you.
Did you think of that right on the
Just
spot
now?
here?
Yeah, it's a little equine humor I came out with.
Yeah, that's going to be a hard nay.
Yeah, that's going to be a hard nay on that, ma'am. It's ma'am to you. Apparently, I would have been all fucked up.
I'm sorry, Ben. I didn't realize.
Jesus, I don't know what I would have.
Donald, I'm sorry,
Would have been a
Donald.
hell of a day. I would have called you when it was over. I'm sure of that. And told you all about it.
I couldn't wait.
So listen, there was this dude up here looking for my horse.
No, there was this girl named Dawn up here looking for my horse.
Well, at least it ain't Sue, Ted, or Bill, or John, or anything but Sue.
I still hate that name. Oh my goodness.
So far, we've got that in 3 different episodes. That same exact saying from
we like it.
From a boy named Sue.
It's a good saying. You know what?
It is.
What do you want from us here? That's
well, for good reason, Craigslist has gotten rid of these ads that you can do this. This is a sting. They arrested Waldy in a sting. The undercover officer went to meet Waldy with a borrowed horse. And so what they must have people that look at these articles saw it and then got a hold of it and said, listen, I have a horse.
She didn't even try to cover it up or put code word in. She straight up was like, I'm looking for a horse.
Right in the ad. I want to perform fellatio on a horse right in the ad.
Yeah, exactly.
Holy shit, you're just really gay.
So the officer went to meet Waldy with a borrowed horse, and Waldy, you know how close that horse was to getting fucked?
By a
lucky horse. Lucky horse was immediately arrested. She confessed to placing the ad and stated his intentions to consummate the act. They also served a search warrant on Waldy's home. This was the 4th arrest in 3 years of its kind. While you wouldn't expect bestiality to be all that popular of a crime, that's apparently not the case. Waldy's arrest was the 4th made by MCSO in 3 years for similar offenses, proving just how twisted some people can be. That's
fucked up.
Listen, if you want to be gay, lesbian, if you want to be transgender, I don't care. We all joke around with everything.
Out of it. What
I
do
could
they
care
got
less.
to do with it?
But right, the horse don't even know. That's unbelievable. It is kind of fucked up, to be honest with you. But anyway, there was something here I read that kind of goes along with that about these weird university EWE student admits to having sex with sheep because he was stressed about exams. We've all read the tips on how to ease exam pressure, and this is definitely not one of them. Well, apparently for this guy it was. A 23-year-old Fresno State University student has admitted to engaging in an act of sex with a sheep after being caught in his California campus barn.
You're right onto this now.
With an ewe. Well, it just happens because I remember seeing this, and that's a weird subject, man. I can't wrap my head around what is sexy about an animal. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have to be.
They have a lot of wool, keep you warm.
I have heard with sheep, if you fuck them next to a cliff, they'll actually push back because they don't want to fall off. It makes it feel like they're into it.
You got to get those knee-high boots.
Oh, that too.
And you put their hind
so they
legs.
Can't move away.
This is what I've been told, hypothetically speaking.
I've read all this in books.
Yeah, from what I've heard.
about all this in books.
You got to put their legs in the boots, and then get them to a cliff, and they push back, and they can't get away.
Right, and that way it's almost as if they.
So I've heard. So
right.
I've read.
Right. That.
Anyway, if you go to the Thatcher Park Overlook,
oh, Jesus Christ! It was funny up to the point where you started drawing us a map of where you've done it. The cops will be here in 10 minutes.
I was just trying to tell you there's a nice view up there. I wasn't even talking about that, you pervert. Look at you.
Oh my God! Of a horse's ass, apparently.
Nay.
The young man who was studying computer engineering told authorities that he had sex with the animal because he was stressed about exams. There's no fucking amount of stress in my life that's going to ever make me, even if I was like an open-minded person, nothing in my head when I get stressed out ever goes, I should find a sheep. Never in my life.
Never.
I've been in some stressful situations. Never once in my life was, I should find a horse or a sheep to fuck.
You use trees.
I use trees. I've never fucked a tree in my life.
You thought of one.
Some people
Maybe the leaves coming off
moved
it.
around as much as a tree. I felt like I was fucking a tree.
If you ever do a tree, make sure you check for bees first.
Yeah, crabs. According
Not
to
a tree.
According to ABC 7, the student was caught in the act when another college goer heard noise coming from the agricultural department's barn in the early hours of Tuesday morning. The man, who has not been named, is facing charges of sexual assault on an animal.
You've used pigs.
What, are you still going to this? I haven't used
Just
anything.
hit me. Just hit me.
Holy fuck.
Well, they were in a human form, but trust me, they could
Oh,
identify.
I get what you're saying. Buffalo too, if that's the case. Oh, fuck it. I've had fucked a horse. Now that we think about it, I guess if you want to switch it around like that, I've had some equine in my bed before.
Yeah, you've had
Some swine and equine. Oh my lord. Upon arrest, he informed Fresno State Police that he consumed a vast amount of alcohol and was feeling stressed about upcoming events. I've also consumed a vast amount of alcohol and still to this day have never. Never mind. That's usually when the horses and the pigs usually end up here. Actually, so that's
Yeah,
I
they
kind of
show
get where he's coming from. I don't know if I don't know. I know for certain I wouldn't actually fuck a real animal, but I kind of get what's happening to him here. He just went to the next level and actually did it.
Took it a step further. Really upped his game.
Afternoon delight couple caught having sex on fountain in broad daylight. Now this is something I haven't read the rest of the article, but from that title, I would do that. I was in Vegas one time on the side of a fucking road, right on the main street, and there was one of them boxes. This is something I don't know if I should be telling this, but I'm gonna because I don't give a fuck. There was those electrical boxes on the corner, and I think what they do is control the red lights. Mm-hmm. And I fucked on one of them one time. Of course, it was late at night.
Was it shocking?
It was no, thank God. It was Christ. It was like it wasn't even happening. I was probably so drunk, but right on the side of that fucking road in Vegas, and at 2 or 3 in the morning is not like 2 or 3 in the morning in this town.
There's people everywhere still.
Right. That's actually probably busier at that point than it is during the day because everybody's out coming back from clubs or whatever.
So did anybody like give you a high five, join in? Nothing?
I don't know. I don't even think anybody really saw us. There's so much shit goes on down in Vegas, Bub, that I don't even think, even if they had saw us, I don't know if that would have, I'm sure they've seen it before down there, you know what I mean? Unless they're from like some like middle of friggin' South Dakota or something and came out to Vegas for the weekend, but I don't know if it's. Of course, it wasn't like the full thing. It only lasted a couple minutes. They were like, all right, let's get going because we're
Well,
on the
that
side
is
of
the
it.
full thing with you.
That's true. I did finish, so it was good. I guess it wasn't. I made it sound like it was more serious than it was, but let's see. Skyrockets in flight, afternoon delight. You know that song?
No.
Oh my God. Do you know anything? There's a time and a place for everything. And when it comes to partaking in a horizontal dance with your partner, it goes without saying that a sunny afternoon atop of a historic public fountain is not exactly ideal. No, but I won't say that it's wrong. I'll go with what they said, not exactly ideal, but I can't say that it was wrong of them. That sounds kind of cool.
Fair enough. I'll give you that.
However, for one Russian couple, here we go. Russians are awesome, man.
get
They
right
ain't
into
fucking
it.
afraid of nothing. You ever see, they'll have breakfast with a fucking bear while they're in an ice-cold pond. I mean,
And don't even care.
they'll cut a hole out of a fucking pond, get in it ice cold with their Speedo on, and there'll be a fucking grizzly next to them having bacon. They don't give a shit. So to have sex on a fucking fountain,
They actually take the bacon from the grizzly.
yeah, they'll fight the grizzly and then be like, "Thanks for letting me," and they give the grizzly a piece. Yeah,
They give him the grizzle.
Yeah, they don't. Oh boy, I can't. I was gonna go to the sound.
I was gonna
thing
say
for that, and I
you couldn't
can't
even find what button
No,
it was. I
couldn't-
seen you reaching.
I didn't have nothing dumb enough to meet that.
Oh my goodness.
However, one
thought that
Russian
was-
couple, it was the erotic encounter has enraged the local authorities so much that they're on the hunt for the lovebirds. Oh, they haven't even found them. Good for them. Now, this, animal shit is fucking gross, and that needs to stop. But you're going to fuck with... You know what the cops should be doing? They should be paying more attention to the fucking farm animals and less attention to these
Horses in particular, by the
horses
sounds.
and sheep.
Yeah.
Instead, they're out here fucking with people on a fountain.
just
and
minding
this
their
is
own
why, so
business.
as far as I'm concerned, these people that are fucking these animals, it's because of the cops. It's the cops' fault because they haven't been paying attention.
We got to defund the police.
Absolutely.
That's all there is to
Or
it.
at least fund them for real shit. Instead, they're out fucking with people on a goddamn fountain. Oh, I get fucking pissed about this shit. In the video,
You get really worked up there.
according to 26-year-old Alexei Dohov, man, these names are killing me tonight, who filmed the incident on his mobile phone. This is the real criminal.
Yeah.
Guy's fucking filming it over here without their knowledge.
Got a flip phone.
The session, which happened in the city of Samara, lasted 15 minutes. That's a typical. How long do you think sex takes? I say 15, 20 minutes. These people are like,
15 to
we
30.
fucked for 3 hours. Bullshit, you did. After a fucking hour. I mean, how long do you want to go before it's like, all right, this sucks?
If you're drunk enough, you can last longer.
You have to. You don't have a choice in it. It's not like you're trying.
Exactly.
But yeah, like girls are like, oh, he didn't last long. Well, how long did he last? Oh, 20 minutes. Well, you know what? I'm not going to last much longer than that either. Because
Listen, did you get off? Did he get off? Okay.
Right. At this point, how far do you... At 45 minutes, we're both kind of just doing the motions. It's not... I don't know.
45 minutes? I could have went 3 times and been sleeping.
Yeah, right.
Holy shit.
I don't know. I don't think... So I think 15 minutes is a good amount of time. 15, 20 minutes. I mean, sometimes certain situation, maybe half an hour, but these people that would say like 3 hours they fuck, get out of here.
Yeah, ridiculous.
You never fucking... You did... The other person would... You know...
I guess they better go get the Leo blend.
Yeah,
Blender.
typically girls are like, well, God, the guy didn't last long. Even the girl at that point at 3 hours would be like, I got to go to bed. This is... I would imagine it would start to hurt after a while. I feel like it would start to hurt me after that long. Just constant fucking going.
Yeah, your feelings when you
I know
see
my
what she looks like.
I would sober up after 3 hours and I would start hurting my feelings.
Yeah, your ego would start hurting.
In the video, the woman can be clearly seen on top of a man who is lying back on the fountain wall. The clip ends with the pair getting dressed before walking off while laughing. I guess they were at it for about 15 minutes and nobody did anything, even though it was 11 o'clock in the morning. Now, that's a little... So, 11 o'clock in the morning, that's not like a 1 o'clock in the morning type of deal, I guess.
No?
They were having full-on sex lying on the lying in the sun beside the fountain in Leningrad Street, and they acted as if it was the most normal thing in the world.
Maybe it was.
Warning, this video contains scenes of sexual nature. Oh, there's a video. Oh, no, there
he's gonna click on that.
Oh, I can't. It's not it's just a link, and I ain't going to go through all that. Now... Oh my God. I hate to keep going on these articles one after another like this, but it's like every time I read one and it goes down to the next one on this list. When sexual fantasies go wrong. I haven't read it yet, but there's a picture here of a fucking eel.
Oh my God.
I can just imagine where this is going. An unidentified man had to save a South American lungfish surgically removed after he inserted it in his anus.
Like gerbils.
Oh my God. I don't know what these people are thinking. According to reporters, the man sought medical help at Hospital Universitario in Brazil.
I'll tell you right now, obviously this would never happen to me
after the fish wriggled into his intestines.
I'm not that fucked up, but I could tell you...
Holy shit, you're just really gay.
If that ever happened to me, I'm dying because I'm not going to a hospital.
Absolutely. I'll lay right there and let this thing thing eat my innards.
Yes, but I'm not going to a hospital
Absolutely
to let anybody
not.
ever know.
How did this happen, sir? Don't worry about it. Just shoot me.
Yeah, it's quite the fishing story. Funny story. You got some time? Like, no.
Yeah.
I'm just going to die.
While he recovered from the operation, the fish had to be euthanized despite still being alive when removed by doctors.
Boy.
If I was a fish, I don't blame him. Kill me.
Pete is going to get after him.
Oh, that's right. It was his fault that eel died or that whatever that fucking thing was.
Oh,
that fish.
man. He's in trouble.
A lungfish, American lungfish, South American lungfish. That looks like an eel, but I guess that's what a lungfish looks like. I don't know.
It's funny that they said they got into his intestines. Why didn't they go for his lungs?
About 48 minutes in, first segment was the fish, because I want to put this picture of this fish up here. I don't know if it's actually... they must. I don't know why they would put a picture of some other fish to go with the...
Well, we could just look up lungfish.
That's true. I guess so. But anyway, so that's that. I guess... oh my God! Here it goes. Oh.
Let's get off the topic.
Yeah,
of
we got it. It
animals.
just goes on and on. There's another
You're
one
going
with
down the rabbit hole now. You could go on for 5
another one with a
hours.
horse. There's another thing going. I mean, it's disgusting. You talk about something now. I'm sick of reading them articles.
There's an article here that I was looking at. Basically, I read through it. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically what happened is a girl and her boyfriend wanted to have a threesome, so she agrees to it. She ends up finding a girl, all this and that. They blindfold him. They do it. She ends up taking the blindfold off him. Turns out it's his ex-girlfriend. Could you imagine?
Wait a minute. No,
his current girlfriend.
Yep.
And him. They want to have a threesome. She gets the girl.
I read that though, like he got the girl and it was his ex-girlfriend, not her getting the girl. But I could be wrong.
But his ex-girlfriend was in it.
Right, but it would make a difference if she did it. If she just got somebody for a threesome and it just so coincidentally it was his ex-girlfriend, that's one thing. But if it was up to him to find the other girl and he called his ex-girlfriend, that is fucked up. I mean, either way is fucked up. But that's like he did that on purpose. That is fucked up.
It is. It is. I didn't read. I was glancing at it because I'm not going to sit here and read this. It's a long one, so I wasn't going to read the whole thing. Obviously.
Right. Yeah, I guess it goes on.
But it says right here, he looked at me and said, "Why the fuck did you bring my ex-girlfriend?" So he said to her, "Why did you bring my ex-girlfriend?"
Oh, so it must have been her, and she. I wonder if she knew it or if it was just a coincidence that it happened to be his ex-girlfriend.
Well, it says she grabbed her clothes and ran out, so I'd imagine she probably didn't know. Mm-hmm. That's quite a story.
Boy, what a coincidence that is. Can you imagine?
What are the chances?
Fuck yeah, I know. Really.
His ex went along with it, though. She had to have known.
Well, yeah, when she got there and seen, just because he had a fucking blindfold on, you could still, like, if you had a blindfold on right now, I still know it's Mike.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting at. So,
I mean, Jesus. I could probably tell if it was you, even if you had a full fucking mask on, to be honest with you, just because I know you so well. And she must have known. I don't know. I guess I'd be going by the bulge in your stomach area.
Apparently, crazier things have happened.
Yes. Apparently, this is not such a big deal, according to the animal kingdom. I guess there's a lot of weird shit that goes on that we never knew about in the animal kingdom.
Anyway, what'd you do today? Let's get off these animal topics for a little bit.
It's getting ridiculous. Well, Jesus, there's so many of them. I had no idea. And then they just lead in, because you get done reading one, and then that very next one down is like a similar thing.
Yeah, it just keeps
going.
My
God, we could go for 2 hours apparently talking about fucking weirdos out here in the world.
And they exist.
Yep. Let's go back. I don't want to talk about shit. I don't want to talk about the animal stuff, but I want to talk about this chick that is with this guy. Now, it says that they're getting married. I know, too late. It's for some reason we can't go an episode without it. I actually think, and I mentioned this earlier, that could really bring somebody together. Again, for the same reason we talked about.
It has to.
If that happened,
that's literally a make or break situation. If you're not going to break up after that, then what else is going to cause you? Nothing.
Mm-hmm. I knew somebody. I don't want to give the name away because this sounds like a bad thing to do, but it's really not. They didn't have sex with the person, but what I was told, they told me, they said, what you got to do is the first date with a girl, you go out and get them super drunk and see how they act. Now, he didn't do it to have sex with them or nothing like that, so it actually isn't bad, but it does sound like it could be bad. But you get them as super drunk as you possibly fucking can and see how they act, because they're never going to act any crazier than that. Because alcohol lets you do that.
Makes sense.
Right. So I said, other than like people that do it to take advantage of women, that's fucked up. But I get what they're saying. If you're just doing it to see what her personality is, you will see it when she's shit-faced.
She's flirting with a bunch of other guys. You're going to know right then and there.
Right. You can rule out a lot of shit on that first fucking date right there just by how she's going to act when she's drunk.
However, I feel like that might be a little hard because on the first date, I would feel like a lot of people may not want to do that. Like, you don't want to get shit-faced drunk on your first date because you don't want to make an ass of yourself, or you kind of want to enjoy the date and remember it. So it's a catch-22.
That's right.
I agree with why you would do it, and it makes perfect sense. But at the same time, I like to even drink. But if I was going on a date with a girl for the first time, I don't think I would drink in excess like that because I would be afraid of being an asshole. Basically, I know what I would be when I'm drinking. I'm an asshole, and I don't want her to see that for the first date if I'm into her.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I would shy away from that.
So you'd be giving him you'd be basically lying to him.
Him?
You'd be hiding. Well, that's what we're talking about here. You dating a guy. If we but seriously though, it'd almost be like, I mean, not on purpose, but it'd like you'd be hiding your true self. I mean, you said you're an asshole when you drink, but I wouldn't show him.
Not in a bad way, but basically what I'm saying is
you're an asshole when you don't drink, so I can just imagine.
Typically a first date you want to make good impressions.
Right. And you're right.
Just because when I drink I'm an asshole doesn't make me a bad guy, but that may not be my best impression. Maybe after a couple weeks or a couple months you do that and they're like, "Oh,
yeah, I get
you know what I mean?" That's basically
that's like after a couple months it's like, "Oh, they're a great guy, but they're just weird when they're drunk, so we'll have to talk about that in the future."
Exactly.
So I kind of get what you're saying with that.
And plus, I'm not gonna be like, "Hey, you want to go to a steakhouse and get dinner, and then we're gonna go to a bar and get shit faced fucking drunk." Mm-hmm. It's a first date. I've talked to this person maybe a week prior, and now all of a sudden we're going out and get.
Well, and it works because look at May and Scully. They did great. He was pretty drunk when he was over here that night. I mean, he didn't do nothing bad.
No, yeah.
But you know what I mean? So she could see how then it worked out. And
But they had been talking and been together for a little while prior, though, right? That wasn't their first date
have
or
they?
anything.
Well, no, I don't think it was their first date, but I don't. If maybe I'm completely wrong, but I thought it was like within a week or two that they started talking.
I
and
can't
dating.
remember exactly, obviously. If we ever get him back, we can get him to verify.
It worked out. A lot of
or
people
if he's
like that
if he's
episode. We'll have
listening, he can verify with us.
We'll have to. I get messages about that episode still. We'll have to get him back. Listen, we're at an hour. It actually went pretty quick. I didn't think it was going to be this easy because we had already talked about all this, but we actually kind of came up with some new stuff somehow. We're professional at this, basically, at this point, I would say.
Yeah, we're real professional that we do it twice.
Well, the talking part, well, do it twice, do it nice, or whatever they say.
Third time's the charm.
Let's take a break. We'll come back and we'll talk about something other than shit and weird sexual encounters. Anybody that has pride in what they drive and might be sick of the same polishes and polishing companies should check out Jared's Polishing in Selkirk, New York for a quality polishing service for your truck wheels, deck plates, fenders, and the list goes on. Jared also does complete trailer polishing. We all know even the cleanest truck with dingy metals just never looks 100%. Check him out on Instagram for proof. If you don't believe me, you'll believe his pictures. Jared is well known in the show truck community for quality work and competitive prices. There's a lot of competition when it comes to polishers, and Jared makes sure he stands out through his workmanship and prices. Check him out on Instagram at Jared's_polishing for yourself. That's Jared's JAREDS_polishing. Send him a message with any questions or just ask around. There's a good chance someone has had something polished by him and will tell you the same as I am. I know all ads say don't wait, call now, but the truth is his schedule fills up fast. Spring seems like a ways off, but truck owners and drivers will be scheduling throughout the winter. So literally, don't wait, call now. All right, we're back. That felt like forever.
It was forever.
Probably an hour. Would you say an hour? 40 minutes to an hour?
Probably 40 minutes. We
I would
needed
say.
it. We had to gather our bearings.
Oh, God. Especially doing two right in a row like this. Listen, while we were gone, we looked at, they won't be able to see it, but the stats. We got back into the top 5%. We're top 4% of all podcasts again, which surprised me. I didn't know this. Mike asked me because I have the password for the thing, and I keep him informed on. Hold on.
Boosh.
I love a
Maybe
good.
eventually they're going to sponsor us, hear us do that. But I like the way you do that.
I like a good wet bush once in a while.
Good wet bush.
So Mike brought it up. He said, "Hey, I haven't seen the stats in a little while," and I said, "Well, we're not."
Last I knew, you said it was like top 6 or 7% where we were at 5. So
We did that top 5%, and then it kind of like plateaued, and we kind of just dropped off. We never went below 10% since that, for like what, our third or fourth episode.
After looking, we never dropped below 7.
You're right. I don't know if we did. I thought we were not. I mean, I thought we were doing fine, but I thought we weren't in that big, huge number anymore. Well, we just look now. We're in the top 4%, above the top 4% in podcasts right now.
So we're still growing.
So that's
some
great.
way, somehow.
We just need that break. We need that one big shot to start getting major sponsors.
We need everybody to keep listening, keep liking, keep sharing.
But we're doing good. That was a cool surprise to see because I hadn't really. I kind of stopped paying
That
attention.
was our biggest number ever, though. 997 in 7 days. That's the highest we've ever done.
That's the biggest, and that's big for a podcast. Period. From according to that graph I was looking at. So
I mean, not when you're on a whole nother level, obviously, like a Joe Rogan. But
well, it's like to get in that top. But that's the top 10, or that's the top 5%. Joe Rogan's Impulsive.
No,
with
top
Logan
one.
Paul,
They're the
or top one. I mean, yeah,
it's like 4,200.
the shit show is there. What's the other one? Call Her Daddy. That's another big one. And those are all big syndicate shows that Spotify paid $60 million to have Call Her Daddy on there. $40 million to Joe Rogan. That's a tough one to get into. I think it's hard to get top 4%. I think we did good with that.
$60 million.
But fuck yeah,
Spotify, you're getting ripped off. We'll do it for $20,000.
Yeah, shit, I would do it. Let me quit my job, my normal job, and I'll do it. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Give us $20,000 a month. We'll do it.
Well, they're spending a lot of money because those are big names. The Call Her Daddy, that was a big one. That started at Barstool Sports. He picked them up. 2 friends ended up getting a huge fucking fight. Now they don't even talk anymore.
I can't wait. I literally have been waiting my whole life to get the fuck away from you. So if this podcast is
but when they split up, the one girl got fucking shafted and she ended up making shit. She
I
left.
don't care.
She got all mad.
I'll go work at McDonald's if I don't have to fucking deal with you anymore.
Fuck. You could do that any day.
Yeah.
And then I'd have nobody to talk to.
Exactly. You'd still be texting me. Well, if I worked at McDonald's, I probably wouldn't be able to pay my phone bill, so you couldn't text or call me. I mean,
So you were in Wi-Fi somewhere.
yeah, exactly, because I can't pay my phone bill.
Remember them days back when we were younger, the friggin' using Wi-Fi because we were too young to have responsibility enough to keep a job and shit.
Yep,
We always
absolutely.
did pretty good, but there was just like parties were more important sometimes. And back then it was like $7 an hour and we didn't have much responsibility. So I was like, fuck it.
I think we talked on it before, but we would think nothing of just quitting a job because
Yeah, back then.
we'd be
it was,
sitting-
what am I going to lose out on? I didn't have any car payment back then, didn't have any bills.
We'd be sitting here like right now and be like, yeah, there's a party tonight. It starts at 9, but we got work tomorrow. Well, it looks like we're quitting our job because we're going to
Yeah,
that party.
It's a good enough party. I ain't
Yeah,
going to work tomorrow.
It's just that simple.
That's all there was to it.
It didn't matter.
Can't do that anymore.
Fuck
Now you
no.
hope for a big break on a fucking podcast.
Yeah.
Do you remember? That makes me think of back then. And I seen an article before. I don't know about it now, but do you remember Laguna Beach, the show?
No.
Complete girl show. It
The only reason I know anything about it is because you brought it up yesterday, the other day, or something. But
the complete girl show, but it was the girl. Every girl on it was so fucking hot. It forced me to watch it, and I think maybe that's why we are in the position we are with our stats. It's just because of my looks. You know what I mean? I feel like
that's definitely it.
I feel like my looks have got us to where we are. You know what I
it's
mean?
definitely 'cause of your
possibly your beard, but mainly I think my looks.
It's
have
not
got
my beard. It's my mane.
your mane.
My
That's
cousin
right.
told me that I was at his house Saturday for a party. We were talking something though, and he was like, I was like, yeah, my beard's looking good or something. He goes, whoa, that's not your beard. He goes, that's your lion's mane. I was like, oh yeah, you're right. Who
Who was that girl that Amy was trying to hook me up with?
I don't. Christy or I can't remember.
She was there though, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was there.
I should've went.
I can't remember her name.
I should've went.
Yeah, but she was there.
I don't know why I stopped talking. I never really talked to her. I messaged her at one time, and then I just kind of forgot all about it, and that was the end of it.
I didn't even know you talked to her. You didn't even.
I didn't. Really. I just told her, let's hang out. It's basically the only thing I just tagged
Oh
her.
yeah, but she had to like babysit her dog or something. So
Yeah, I was
so
like,
she,
all right.
So she didn't want to come over and obviously shit on your wall, but
Right.
know.
She had to do homework or some fucking thing, wash her hair or some excuse. So that was, I just never really thought about her after that until just now when you talked about that party. And
that was
it
that.
made me think of Amy and her friend, whatever her name was.
Christy or I don't know, but either
Well,
way.
anyway, so this show Laguna Beach was nothing but drama and like relationships and girls show, but I watched almost every episode because they were hot as shit. There was Lauren.
And you could relate. Nothing but drama and fucking yipping and yapping and bitching.
I think I've had more drama as I got older than I did back then.
Well, you do. Yeah, you do.
Kristen
your shit.
Cavallari, that's where she got her start, was that show. Lauren, I want to say her last name is Hill. Lauren Hill. Those are the two hottest. They were the main characters.
I don't remember it, so I'm not much help. I don't.
There was so many rules to those. Well, it just made me think, like, and not even so much that show. I mean, that was a cool show because I got to look at girls back then, but like, it was more so got me thinking about just the old times, like reality shows. Remember MTV?
I remember that.
I haven't watched MTV in years. I don't even know what they do anymore.
MTV Cribs. I always like that. Mm-hmm. Seeing some of these people's. I watched one on Shaq one time or something. I don't know, like a fucking $500,000 fish tank. Like,
Yeah.
I'll probably never see $500,000 in my life, and he did that just to put a fish tank in his wall.
We will if we
To go along with his.
Well, I'll tell you right now, when this show gets big enough, now we have to put a fish tank behind us.
It's
got to
be in the wall. It's got to be built right into the wall.
a
though.
giant
Yeah.
fucking saltwater
with like
fancy-
sharks. We like unique
Oh, fuck yeah.
octopus. Weird,
Oh, fuck yeah.
You know, we're not just gonna put a couple tetra in there. We want
Right.
some real
Right. We
stuff.
want more than fighting fish. We want
yeah,
some real
yeah.
shit.
I don't want no beta fish in there.
So that's something we're gonna have to remember when
I
this
want a
happens.
hammerhead shark or something.
I already got a hammerhead. We just need a shark.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a time I was probably what 17, 18 when all that shit was going on. That was when MTV was like big and was like Cribs, like you said. Reality shows were becoming a thing. They were never a thing before that. They were, I can't remember. There was the Jersey Shore was another one.
I was just gonna
never
say
really
that.
got into that.
Me either.
I was just more annoying.
The only
than
thing I got
anything.
out of that was the GTL, Gym Tan Laundry. That's the only
What the
thing.
hell's that?
GTL, Gym Tan Laundry. Didn't that come from Jersey Shore?
Maybe I don't know though.
I'm almost positive.
What does it mean?
I just said it. GTL, Gym Tan Laundry.
Yeah, but who like?
I don't know. It was like
about-
I don't know. I guess that was
Was that like an order you're supposed to do it in?
or
Gym,
maybe
tan,
that was
then
like
do your
that was
laundry?
like their life. I guess maybe I don't know. They partied and they go to the gym, they tan, they do their laundry, and then just party. I don't know.
I watched a couple of them just to see them partying and shit because that's back when we partied like that, kind of. I mean, not to their level.
We
They
were young.
Christ,
We could do that.
they had cameras and shit, but right, we were young, and it just reminded me that I had more in common with them now than I did now. But I don't know, it just makes you think of that old stuff.
Party down south. That was an old. I
What
like
was
that
the one where it went on for years and years and years? It was like the biggest reality show of them all, where they would take these group of like 10 kids or 8, 10, or 12 kids and put them in this house, and they had to live there. Do you remember what the name of that show was?
Party down south.
No,
That was similar to that. That one was awesome. I got into that one.
that must have been later on towards the end when I kind of stopped paying attention. Was like 16 and Pregnant and Teen Mom.
You were pregnant at 16?
No, the shows were, and they that was like towards the end when I was starting to outgrow that stuff. But before all that was like, what the fuck was the name of this? It was like the main reality show. That let me see if I can look it up. It had like every year they would have this new cast of people, MTV reality shows. Let's see if it just comes up.
Yeah, I can't think of what you're. That's true. It wouldn't have been Party Down South because that was on CMT anyway. So you're right. That wouldn't. If it was on MTV, it certainly wasn't the one I was thinking.
It was Teen Mom, Catfishes. This is all in 2012. Looks like it all. Yeah, Jersey Shore. Wow, that went all the way up to 2018. Looked like Family Vacation. Looked like they started a new one. Teen Mom. I don't know. I can't think. And there's such a big one that I can't even.
Can't be.
The Real World. I just happened to see it right here. Real World. That went from 92 to 2017. I didn't know it went that late. But yeah, that was a big one back then. That's kind of what
I never watched that.
I think that's the one that kind of I did a little bit, but it was a lot of drama. Just it was like I think more like not that only girls are into drama, but it was more like a romantic drama. You know, like girls would watch it to see which guy hooked up with the girl and with the girl. You know,
So it was a soap opera.
more or less
Days of Our Lives.
More or less, right? And so I never got into it, but it was such a big name and such a big show that you almost couldn't miss hearing about
By
it.
default, you end up watching or hearing.
Yeah, you're right. And then something would happen. You see it in the news. It's like, oh well, let me watch this week just to see if I could see what happened. But that one I never got into like I did Laguna Beach, and Laguna Beach was actually even more girly. Oh Christ, they were going through breakups and crying on camera. Oh, it was fucking ridiculous. But they were all hot.
So you watched The Real Housewives too?
No, they aren't. No, because I didn't think they were as good looking.
Oh, okay.
But that's the only reason I watched Laguna Beach is because of Kristen and Lauren.
You say their names like you know them personally, like they were just here yesterday hanging out with you.
I feel like I did.
Yeah, in your own mind, maybe.
I've had sex with both of them.
Do they know that?
No, but I do.
Fair enough.
Anyway.
They will never know that.
Yeah, so that was good shows. I remember that back in the day. That was back. Shit, we were probably 7. I think it was. I started selling cars then. Remember them days? You sold cars. Had pagers. You had to call people at certain hours of the night, so it was free after 9.
You had the phones. You had to wait. You could pay to upgrade it to after 7.
Mm-hmm. Oh, from 9 to 7 or whatever.
I think we talked about that before, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's tough because we already talked about stuff yesterday, and I can't remember what we talked about yesterday
or
if it was
last episode or whatever. Yeah.
Different.
Car sales was a good time though. We had fun with that.
I remember one time I had some reason I had a keg in the back of remember my green truck I had?
Yep.
We must have had a keg for a party or something, and I had a keg was still. Obviously we didn't drink it all. It was still in the back with a blanket around it. And we got done working one night, and I pulled it right in the shop, and all of us went out there drinking. Were you working there then?
I don't think I worked there. I was just with you for some reason.
Oh, you probably.
That was what, at Leah, right?
Yes, and they were so cool about it. They didn't care who came as long as it wasn't
you had that guy. Who's that guy? The tall guy, wore the trench coat type deal, like Eric.
Eric King.
Yes,
he was awesome.
That's who it was.
He was awesome. Really a role model for me in that. That was the guy. Like if nobody else could sell anything, I was like, all right, let's go get Eric, and he could do it. He could sell cars.
Mm-hmm. That was Peter Guy at Lazari.
Was it?
Yeah.
No matter what, it was like I used to love to watch Eric talk.
They're the closer.
Yep. Too, it's weird. I'd love to see a reality show of that shit. Take somebody like Peter Guy and Eric King, and I'm sure there's a million other ones, and put them together and just see. I'd love to see what it would be. So, like, I don't really care who wins or not, but like, Peter was your kind of guy growing up that you always looked up to, and Eric was mine.
Good. He was funny too.
It would be awesome to like put the two of them together and see who could sell the most in a month or something.
I remember one time
they were both sharks, both big money sellers.
I remember one time I had to go to Pete. I couldn't close these people. I was trying and spent time with them. I was a pretty good salesman. I mean, I'm not bragging, but I did all right. I was pretty good. I could talk to people, and that's basically the thing. I could talk to people. I think I'm likable. Don't even fucking open your mouth because I know you, but I think people could relate to me, and that's huge. If they can,
you're confident.
If they can relate to you and like you, I think that helps a lot. Anyway, I couldn't close these people. I could not get them to agree to the deal. So Pete comes out. Anyway, you know the whole spiel. It's like, okay, let me just go get my manager. He just wants to come out and say hi, blah, blah. Really, you're going to get him to try and close the deal. Everybody knows that. He comes out. He's talking to him. He's going. All of a sudden, they say, after a little while, he was sitting in a chair like we're in now where you can raise and lower him. So it was raised up. And I'm standing there just looking, and they're saying something. Well, I just want you to come down a little bit. Can you go down a little bit? He hits the lever on the chair, goes, whoop, drops right down. He goes, there, I came down a little. And I just thought that was fucking fun. But that was the kind of shit.
You could just think of that
And
shit
I tell
on
you
the
what,
fly.
the customer started laughing, and like 30 minutes later, he's like, go get the paperwork, write it up. He fucking closed it. Because he just little shit like that though, you
Personable.
know, shit like that made people laugh. And they're like, come down a little. He's like, okay, I'll come down.
And he lowered his chair. That's cool.
You know, another time a guy was trying to beat him on price. We had a showroom full of customers. I kid you not. I think probably if there was 8 salesmen, probably all of us had a customer, and he was working with my customer again. And I'm standing there, and they're beating him
So
up.
it sounds like you weren't much of a salesman at all. You would just go get the manager.
I just had Pete do everything
Yeah.
for me. Anyway, he's going on, and they're beating him up over price. He all of a sudden he goes, help, help. The whole showroom turns like, what? I mean, he's screaming it. He's screaming
So
this.
Peter was talking to the customer. Who was screaming? Peter?
Peter did.
All right.
He starts screaming. He just goes, help, help. Everybody looks. He goes, they're trying to rape me. They're trying to rape me.
Oh, my God.
Right through the whole showroom. They're raping me on the price. And I was just like, holy shit. Now, that one, I don't think he closed.
No, you probably almost got arrested.
Yeah, we didn't sell the car on that one, I don't
Holy
believe.
shit.
But just he would do off-the-wall crazy shit, and he would always get it done, though.
I don't remember any
fucking crazy.
I can't remember any real stories. I'm sure Eric had them too. I can't remember any like the chair going down thing and shit. He was witty though, so I'm sure it was something. But I remember a couple of them. Like he would stick up. He was a big one for his employees. Like he wouldn't let nobody walk on his employees. Mm-hmm. And he would always be listening from in the office. You know, it's like he always knew. And it was a thing where
Was he a sales manager or anything, or he was just a salesman?
No, he was a sales manager.
Oh, okay.
Well, he was both. You know, in that business, people come and go.
Yeah,
One dealership, he's a salesman. The next dealership, he's a finance manager. Next dealership, he's a general manager. You know, it's all. There's such a high turnover in them. You move around like nothing. But he was good at it. He was a good salesman. He was a good sales manager because of that. And I remember one time it was one of those deals where the customer wanted one payment. And their credit, what they were putting down in their credit, I just couldn't get them to that payment. We were way off, like $200-$300 off. There was no way.
But that's
And,
like $4,000 or $5,000 in down payment.
Sure, I mean sometimes you can like move around $20 or $30 to keep people happy, but I just couldn't do it.
You can't eat $5,000.
Right, as simple as that. So, well, they started getting mad. I'm sure you've had that when the people don't get what they want. All of a sudden,
it's your fault.
Right, they're nice for 2 hours while you're talking to them. When you can't get them the loan payment they want, right, it's your fault. You're a piece of shit
because they have bad credit or can't put more money. It's your fault.
It's almost more that they're embarrassed about their credit than they are that they couldn't buy the car. And they don't.
You mean to tell me you can't take $10,000 off the sticker of this $5,000 car?
Right, to make me happy.
Like, think about the stupid math. You know,
right?
The car's $14.99 brand new, and you want me to take $13,000 off? What do you want to just give you the fucking thing?
Well, I got that tattoo that we have right down in the thing, and I had a short sleeve. It was a nice shirt. It was all dressed up always there, but it was a short sleeve shirt, and they seen that, and it was like something he was reaching for. This guy is an older guy. He was reaching for something because I couldn't get him at the payment, and I could tell his whole demeanor started to change. He started to get more, he's laughing, having a good time, and then as soon as I told him that we couldn't get him there because of his credit or whatever, you're gonna have to put more down. It was like all of a sudden he hated me. It wasn't happy anymore. Well, the first thing he found must have been that tattoo. And he's come out with, is that a gang sign?
You should have told him yes. So you're either going to buy this fucking car or you're never going to have to worry about a vehicle again because you're going to be dead.
Right, so pick a fucking option, motherfucker. Yeah. But anyway, I don't know. I was just trying to be nice. I was like, no, me and my friend got the tattoo or whatever. But it
you got
snowballed.
The same tattoo?
As you. It's just snowballed constantly from there. It got worse and worse and worse to the point where Eric had heard this guy had started yelling at me at this point. Just raising his voice. I mean, he wasn't like making fun of me, just raising his voice and shit. Well, Eric comes out of the office and I seen it out of the corner of my eye. He comes over, he says, get the fuck out of here. And that was it. And I always remember that. It was not a big, huge story. But it was like he always stuck up for people, right? He must have been listening to how this guy was treating me, and he said, "Get the fuck out of here. You don't buy a car."
At that point, it wasn't even about the sale.
Right? He didn't even care if I made the sale. At that point, you know how sales managers are always like, "Oh, we need more sales, more sales." Mm-hmm. At this point, he knew how the guy was treating me. He just said, "Get the fuck out of my dealership."
Not only that, but he probably knew too. He's like with his credit, he's not putting no more. He's not going to sell.
Right? He's probably sitting in there going, "All right, Wes, you're wasting your time.
You're not going to sell him a car anyway. Right. So why let him stand there and yell and?
At that point, I could have kicked the guy out, and Eric would have been like, "I get it," but I didn't because I was new. And I was young, and I didn't, I was trying to make everything work. Like, how can we make this work? Maybe I can get him to spend more money. I don't know. Finally, though, Eric just comes out and says, "Get the fuck out of my dealership."
Man,
and of course the guy flipped all out, and he says, "Oh, I'm calling I know this person. Everybody knows somebody when they're not happy. You know what I mean? Everybody knows a fucking cop. Everybody knows somebody in the mob. Everybody knows somebody that owns the fucking dealership. Or my neighbor's third cousin worked at fucking Leah one time for 2 years.
My sister's niece's nephew, aunt's kid slept with the owner one time.
Yeah.
So I'm basically best friends with the owner now. So.
Right. So give me the price I want. And Eric was like, I don't give a fuck who you are. Get the fuck out.
I had a customer one time, not quite similar scenario, how they get, like turned to assholes out of nowhere. Anyway, I sold them a car and everything was fine. They were actually very nice. They were pleasant. I think we gave them the deal they wanted because they bought the car regardless. Anyway, you always had to do a review for the sale. You remember you got spin money? We called it spin money.
Kind of. Yes. Yeah, it was.
So you sold
review wasn't 5 stars or whatever.
Yeah, you had to basically have 100 score. I think
then you
could
got
go to
spin money. Yes, I do remember.
Like every car you sold was like 75 or 100 bucks.
That was a Kia thing.
On top of your normal pay. But anyway, so you had to, I always got a good review. Anyway, I'm demoing the car to this people. Basically, what I mean is after I sold it to them, I'm going through, this is how you work the radio, program the stations, this is your power windows. So that way when they drive off my lot, they don't go, okay, how do we turn the radio down? I go through the whole car with them. Mm-hmm. Well, at that time, we had, I think it was like Sirius XM or something. And so I was like, yeah, you get 3 months free of a Sirius XM satellite when you buy the car, blah, blah, blah. I said, after the 3 months, they're going to call you up. They're going to try to get you for, for the sake of conversation, say it was $10 a month. I don't remember now. But I was like, if you argue with them, go back and forth a little bit, you could Jew them down a little bit and get it to maybe like $7 a month. I don't think anything of it, right? They're like, okay, yeah, thank you for that, Mike. Really appreciate it. They were decent.
What'd you call? You get them? You what did them down?
You could Jew it down. You could Jew them down.
I bet you the Jewish listeners are gonna love that.
Well, this is what I'm getting at, though. I didn't think anything of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, they do my review. Mike Malone comes out, calls me up a couple days later. He's like, Mike, he's like, you're not in trouble or anything. He says, you just got to be careful with your wording. Now, mind you, I didn't think anything of it.
So that's the point of why you're saying this.
I didn't mean it that way. Obviously, that's just how I said it. I didn't mean it that way. Well, they complained about that. They were upset. They were like, everything went well, but we don't like the fact that he told us to Jew, the Sirius XM down or whatever. And like I said, I didn't get in trouble. But Mike was like, just try not to use that anymore. But
Who?
Mike Malone. He was the sales manager.
That's what I can't remember who that was.
But it was just the point. They were happy and decent, and then because I said that, they were kind of like, well, it turned into almost.
Well, they must have been Jewish. They were probably offended.
They could have been, but it wasn't. I didn't mean it that way, obviously, and I still don't.
Well, yeah, but you wouldn't say the N word and then just say, "Oh, I didn't mean it."
Well, I can't find a reason I would want to say that. You know what I mean? But it's the point. I was just, you know what I mean? Like, think about it. You've probably done it. Like, oh yeah, if I did this, I could, I could have said negotiate. I guess I don't know.
Probably.
But nonetheless, they didn't like it. So.
And it turned into a fucking thing out of nowhere, really.
I thought they were tickled pink. I think they still gave me a 10 on my survey, though. Mm-hmm. So.
Well, good. So you got your spin money. Didn't much fucking matter.
I got tons of money.
I had one customer. It's just the opposite of a pissed off story. She was just an older lady, and I always gave her the best deal. Like, there was no question, because she was always so nice to me. She would come in looking for a car. Every 3 or 4 years, she bought a car.
I had one of those.
She would come in. And or she would have, because she was so happy with what was going on, she'd have like her cousin get one or her daughter or whatever, and as soon as she walked in that door, I instantly went right to the bottom line fucking price. I didn't pull any bullshit, no sales.
Just because you knew.
And she knew that, because I don't know if she was looking it up online or what she was doing, but she would just come in, and because she trusted me to give her the best price and the best deal on something, I would. And I mean that. I would just give her the best price we possibly could before we'd start have to shut the fucking electric off because we couldn't afford to give her anymore.
Exactly.
But yeah, I always remember that. It came to the point with her, she would buy the car, and I just say, I'll give you a call, I'll bring it over to your place. And I used to drive that over to her house and drop it off, and then have the lot kid would come pick me up in one of the used cars. But I loved customers like that. Because it made me want to work for them and get them the best deals. Almost like I was selling to the dealership for them, as opposed to selling to them from the dealership.
Exactly.
Because I actually cared. And that was a lot of the reason why I quit selling cars, because some of the managers, it wasn't Eric, everything started to change when, he quit, went somewhere else, and then this person quit, and the next thing you know, it's like a whole different regime.
It's like the game is always changing in car sales.
Yes.
I think it's always,
yep.
You know what I mean?
And there's such a turnover that, it's like for 3 months you're one way, and then some new manager comes in, you got to do it all a different way. And you started getting these, it was almost like a Fusillo thing. It was like they came in and they wanted you to wait. So there'd be 5 of us waiting out in front of the fucking door.
Like sharks.
Yeah, just waiting to fucking freezing cold sometime to get out there and stand and wait for somebody to come in. Well, this time of year, between, Thanksgiving and Christmas, who the fuck is buying cars? And I get it. I don't want to buy a car. You're buying gifts for people. You're already spending $1 million fucking dollars. The last thing I'm thinking about is buying a new car right now till the holiday. But they'd want you to sit out there. And as soon as somebody come on, it would get to the point where it was almost like fights. It was like, no, I said hi to him first. I said hi. And it was like older people.
That's my up.
Yeah, and it made me think of like my grandparents going to a car dealership and taking advantage of them. And I said, I ain't going to fucking do this no more. I always liked that one customer because we just had a mutual thing. I respected her. She respected me. I give her a price. She knew I was going to give her the best price. And I knew she was going to buy if I took care of her and actually treated her right. And that was a great, but that was like a few and far between thing. One time I had, and I was a new guy, and they knew this. I didn't know this, but the Sharks didn't want nothing to do with them. And it actually turned out for me. I mean, I had to work for it, but it turned out this deaf couple came in. Neither one of them could speak.
So you had to write everything down?
You had to write everything down, and when there was phone calls involved, there was a special phone number you'd have to call, and there would be like an interpreter that would also, it was almost like a three-way thing, and it was just a pain in the ass, but I was too new to know, and everybody else is kind of laughing at me.
They
in
were
the
probably
background.
laughing while you took them.
Right, because they knew that they didn't want to deal with it and everything. Well, what happened, I ended up selling 4 cars that month from this because it was somebody, and Eric told me this. He says, we were joking around with you and stuff. He says, but really, he said, that worked out for you. He says, because you took your time with them and actually put the work in.
And they
would just
appreciated that.
Because a lot, like what Eric was saying, a lot of places, they go to all sorts of dealerships and they find out that they got to go through all this trouble. And even Sharks or no fucking Sharks, they were like, we don't want to deal. We don't want to go through. We'll just grab the next guy on the lot and make money quick. Well, I ended up making out on that. I sold like 4 cars that month alone because somebody gave them the time of day. They bought one.
Referred you.
Somebody from their family or something. I think they had some type of a club, not a club, but like a group for like deaf people. They go and they just talk about things that are in common and whatever. And because they could all sign language, they could all do that. So it was easy for them to hang out with each other. Well, from that group, I was getting all sorts of phone calls that just go one after the other after other. And I think that was, I want to say that's about when I quit was after that. So I got to about 4 though, but it worked out. I got a good check.
That's the goal eventually, though, to just get repeat business or referrals like that.
Yep.
I had one that stood at Mark Moran. I'll never forget him. He came in when I was at Lazari one time, and I spent...
Salesman or a customer?
He was a customer.
Yep.
I spent, no bullshit, we closed at 9. I think I was there till 11 o'clock with him. I ended up selling him a car that night, first car ever, and we went back and forth forever. Nice guy. It was never a problem to begin with, but he just kept going with the price, and I was doing, I was like, when you go to Price Chopper, do you beat them up over the price of bread, or do you just buy the bread and move on? Like what? Anyway, I ended up selling him the car. Well, down the road, I ended up selling him personally 3 or 4 cars, and he referred so many. I probably, from him alone, no exaggeration, probably got about 20 to 25 deals from him alone. He referred everybody to me. He ended up being the best customer to date that I can ever remember. Mark Murray, I remember his name. That's how much he stood out to me.
I don't remember this lady's name.
I spent so many hours with him, but yeah, it was just, he was so happy ultimately, and it always seems like I made money off him. We didn't crush him, but we made money. It seems like the people that you give the craziest deal to, typically. So let's say the car brand new is 20 grand and you sell it for 10 grand. Now you can't do that. Obviously that's a big loss, but let's just say that's what you did. Those are the people that are going to beat you up, probably not refer you to anybody, not give you a good survey.
Right, you did the best for them.
Exactly, but they're just idiots and assholes, I think, sometimes. Right. Then somebody that you club over the head and make a ton of money or make a decent amount of money, they give you the best survey and they love you. I could never figure that out, why it was like that. It was ass backwards. The people that you gave the world to gave you the best or the worst surveys and were pissed off at you, basically, and the ones you made money off of loved you. I can't figure it out.
I don't know. People just want more and more always. They're never happy. You give somebody $3,000 off of a fucking car, and then they want $5,000. You give them $5,000, they want $7,000. Like nobody's ever. You get these people that are always like, well, all right, well, if you're going to give me $2,000 off, let's see about $3,000. It's like, no, bud, that's not how That's not negotiating. That's just you fucking beating the shit out of me.
And I would always say to somebody that the typical thing that everybody always says, obviously, car sales. Here's the game. You want to buy the car for as little as possible. I want to sell it for as much as possible. That's a given. You know what I mean? But here's the thing: you're going to beat me up for the price nonstop. It's like the price is. First of all, as a salesman, I don't control the price anyway.
Right? Like they think you do.
So you could tell me, hey, if you sell me this car, give me $5,000 off, I'll sign right now. Okay, you have to realize something. I have to approve that with my manager. The number doesn't come from me anyway, so it doesn't really matter. but it's ultimately they want to buy it for as little. I want to sell it for as much as possible. But they just keep going. And ultimately, I'd say to people, I'd be like, listen, do you go to work for free? And they'd almost look at you like, what? Excuse me? I'd be like, do you go to work for free? Because I don't. Like, I'm not entitled to make a paycheck. Yeah, I don't have to make $5,000.
Just because you're a car salesman, you're not supposed to make money.
I still have a family. I still have bills to pay. The dealership has to keep the lights on. They have to pay for the inventory. Like, people still have to get paid.
Sure.
So I can tell you right now, you could, whatever you do, you could work at McDonald's or the state, whatever the circumstances are. You don't go to work for 40 hours a week and then be like, no, keep my paycheck. I don't, this is donated time. That's not how it works. Everybody has to get paid. So I'm not entitled to make any money here.
Yeah.
It's just...
They thought you were.
Well, yeah, exactly. I was supposed to work
car salesmen are the only people that aren't supposed to make any money, apparently.
Yeah. Well,
but you know what happens?
Even when you don't make money, you make thousands of dollars. You know what I mean? Everybody in their mind.
I think that comes from the fucking sharks, the type of like Fusillo type, that have club people over the head and do make $5,000-$6,000 a car, and they don't realize that all salesmen aren't that way. You know, another thing people didn't realize that I learned from selling cars is that new cars.
There's not much markup.
I think we had like $500 or something. When I first started, I don't know what it was when you ended up quitting, but when I first started selling cars, those Kias, there was like $400 or $500 markup in them on a new car. So when we would take $300 off, we'd be making $100 in this fucking thing, and people would be like, "Oh, you can drop it low." No, I just can't. It costs us this amount.
I literally had people where we bring out the invoice. Pete wouldn't always do that, but he would here and there. Sometimes he would either bring it himself or he'd be like, "Here, go show him the invoice. I'm all in on this deal." That's what he'd say. I'm all in. I don't have any more money to give. Because basically when they went, he's like, "Fuck it, I don't even want their business."
And people didn't believe us.
But, well, that's it. I would bring the invoice. It would literally say dealer cost and then the MSRP. So you could literally see the markup. So for simple math, say it was $2,000. They'd be like, "That's not, you printed that up." Yeah, I literally went in the fucking office and just printed up this actual invoice to try and trick you. This is what we own the car for.
Right.
This is what the MSRP is,
right.
And this is what I'm selling it to. You're getting all the money. I have nothing more to give you.
If that didn't work at that point, it wasn't worth my money because I'd be getting a Mini on the fucking thing anyway on a new car.
Have a
I'd make
good day.
$75 on it regardless of what you spent. So don't you think that I'm going to try to give you the best fucking deal so you buy it?
I just spent
But like you said, they just don't fucking believe whatever you say. But that's something here I'm to tell you guys today that are listening. On a new car, now it might be different. Mercedes, Lexus,
more markup.
I'm sure there's more markup, but it's all relative because at that point you're going to spend $80,000 for a car anyway. But you take something like a Kia or probably even like a typical Chevy, maybe not like the Vets and stuff. That's a whole different thing. But like a typical Chevy sedan or a Ford sedan, Toyota, them type of things. There's not a whole lot of markup. So if you guys are going to look at new cars and they tell you, "Oh, we took $400 off," they probably did.
There's probably more markup than that in them now.
You think so?
I want to say the last I was selling cars, I want to remember I probably had somewhere in the area $1,200 markup on a new car. 1,000 to 12.
Well, maybe because I was selling Kia and there was
either
a pretty
way,
bottom of the
let's
line.
say there's $3,000 markup. You know that's still not a lot of money. You think
you got to remember, you got to pay the detailer $100. You got to do all a lot of times it was like the tags and all the shit like transport. The dealership had to pay for transport if I remember right. The prep. Because when they come, they're all got plastic and shit all over them. They got to pay somebody to do that. Fluids, all that. So, I mean, it's costing probably, and this no shit, it's probably costing the dealership $400 just to get that car ready for you.
At least.
So that comes off the fucking markup. So now you're from $3,000, you're down to $2,600. Now we gave you.
That was good, man. We get fast.
Well, that was an easy one. We give you $1,000 off. Now you're down to $1,600 markup. Well, we got to pay for the electric bill. We got to pay insurance for this floor plan. There's a floor plan payment to have all these cars here.
When you buy new cars, what do you typically always get with a brand new car? Full tank of gas. There's another $100.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
yep. It's all.
You know, it's like, and like I said, so now we're making $1,500
on a new car.
We're making $1,500. I, as a salesman's getting $100 Mini on it. So that leaves $1,400 to the dealership to keep their lights on, pay their taxes, pay their inventory, and the floor.
Some
plans.
of them light bills, people don't realize they have all those lights out in a parking lot.
My
and
God.
just shop and have the electric on for the compressors and shit. Their fucking light bill sometimes is $8,000-$9,000 a fucking month in electric. I mean, you got to sell a lot of cars to make up at that type of a markup. So that's what I mean. If you guys are looking for a new car and they've given you a pretty good amount off, there probably is about. And here's another thing too, as far as new cars went, the only time that I ever made money or the dealership ever made any real money on cars was because of numbers. So if a dealership could sell, I don't know the number anymore, but say 100 cars a month, it was more than that. But if we could sell 100 cars a month, Kia would give the dealership and the salesman a larger check, like a bonus check. So it would behoove the dealership to give you the best possible fucking deal.
Just to hit those numbers.
Here, have your car so we can put another check on the mark that we're closer to 100, and then we make money. But that's not money that we can give you as the customer off of the car.
We don't even have it
because we don't
until
have it yet. So trust me when I tell you may not believe me. I don't know why you wouldn't. I'm not trying to sell you a car, but I'm trying to
Sounds
just give
like you are.
I know. I'm trying to just give you a tip, though.
I thought you said you didn't like sales. Listen to you go.
For life events, when you go to buy a new car, that's different with used, but when you go buy a new car, there's not a whole lot of markup, and most times a dealership, a salesman is probably trying to just sell you that car, even if they don't make much money. They just want you happy to buy the car so that they can put that check mark on that to that bonus.
Well, it's probably 50-50 on that, I feel. There's a lot of salesmen out there that they're sharks. They're they're just out to
Well, and
to
that's people don't know the difference between
they give all the
a
rest
shark
of us
and a
bad.
not a shark.
However, I will say today's standards, the way things work though, it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier.
For the customer.
Yes. You have so many more tools accessible to you to find out the price, the markup.
Oh, yeah.
Of
You can
cars.
almost just walk in.
You just walk in and be like, listen, I know you own this car for 10 grand. I know you're asking 20 for it. I'm willing to pay you 13 for it. I know at that point you're still making $3,000. They just eliminate all that.
Right.
They make it a lot easier for customers now.
Sure, it's a lot harder for salesmen.
It is. On a new car. On used, obviously, again, that's a whole different story.
But that goes back to what we were saying. People that come in to buy cars, now you say we left some money over. Well, we also need to make money, or what's the sense of going there? Besides, the dealership needs to make money for electric bill and
Nobody
everything.
works for free.
Right. Why would I bother getting up every morning and go to work if I was going to make zero? But that's the one thing with car sales is everybody thinks that the salesman should make $0. Give us as the customer that money. Well, I can give you some, but I'm not going to, I got to buy bread on the way home. You know what I mean?
What always made me mad with that, though, is with the whole sales thing, I remember for a while, Pete would let others. So my days off were always Fridays. I think I sold cars for close to 10 years, and my day off was always Fridays. That's just how it worked out. Well, after a while, I got to pick it at Lazaria. I was there for a while, but he used to let other salesmen do the deal. So basically, if you come in to buy a car, whether it's a Monday through Thursday, but whatever happened, you said, I got to pick it up on a Friday. Well, that's my day off. You only got one day off.
I used to have to come in.
Well, so
Sucked.
Well, for a while, he would let another salesman do that. And if they were cool with you, they would just do it, or you would buy them lunch, or you'd be like, hey, I'll split the deal with you. I'll give you half the money. Mm-hmm. Well, a couple deals started getting messed up, so Pete put an end to that. He was like, no, you're coming in now. I'm telling you right now, you had better be here to do your own fucking delivery. So that sucked. So my point is, though, you do all this on a price. They beat you up on the price. You make a mini on it, which is only $100 on the car. Well, I only made $100 on it. Now I'm coming in on my day off and everything. And mind you, to deliver a car to somebody from the start to finish, to do all the paperwork signed, make their photocopies, make sure you would have to get there early because you want to make sure the car's in the shop, getting detailed and clean for them. You got to make sure. A lot of times I went and fueled them myself because they forgot to do it or didn't have time. So you got to make sure it's getting detailed, it's getting clean, it's got a full tank of gas. You look the car over to make sure there's no damage on it.
It's a lot more work in car sales than people think.
Because you don't want any damage because that's going to affect you, your surveys and everything.
Sure.
So you come in early to begin with. They're picking a car up at 11 a.m. I'm there at 9 a.m. probably at least to do all this. You do all the paperwork, get it all signed, make photocopies for them, put it in a pretty little folder. Come on out. If there's a trade, you got to take their trade in, swap the plates over, all this and that. Then you got to go over the car with them. This whole process, no bullshit, is easily a 3-hour process, 3 to 4 hour process, start to finish. So I made a whopping $100 to spend 4 hours on my day off to deliver your car. Mm-hmm. So that would irritate me sometimes. I'd be like, you know what? That's really not worth it to me.
Some places are probably different, but whenever I sold cars, you don't get paid. Now, you get paid even if you sell 0 cars. You get a certain amount of money, which was never a lot, but you got enough to pay your, right, you had a salary. However, when I did it, I can't remember what they call it, but they would pay you every week. But then the next week, if you sold a car, you'd have to use some of that money to pay back what they paid you. So when it comes right down to it, in reality, you made nothing if you didn't sell a car, really. Mm-hmm. You did. You took a check home every week.
We always had salary
but
plus
they would
commission.
take that off after
I know what you're saying. I forget what I was at one dealership.
There's
I think
a
it was
name
like,
for that.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
It was like $500. You got like $250 salary. If you sold no cars, they gave you $500. So
Right.
you had $750 minus
but
taxes.
when you sold other cars, you started to pay that $500 back.
Exactly.
So
Now,
really,
Lazaria, we didn't have that.
That was Leah. That was at Leah, and it was a Kia dealership. So it's a whole different ballgame when you go to like Mercedes or Lincoln or something, and then go to a Kia. I mean, it's two totally opposite ends of the.
Lazaria was probably about the best for me. If I'm not mistaken, I believe we were somewhere in the area of like $300 to $400 salary, roughly, somewhere's in there.
That you got regardless.
And then we got 30% commission, which is high for commission.
Yeah.
So it was decent there.
Yep.
And we didn't have that. Again, I know what you're talking about, but I can't
remember what
I
they
can't
called
remember
it.
the name of it. We didn't do any. So the only thing that sucked at Lazari is, that was a benefit. Say it was $300 a week salary and then 30% commission. Well, if I sold no cars, I made $300 minus taxes. You bring home a $200 paycheck.
Right.
That sucked.
Right. Well, that's what pisses people.
But it was nice to not have to pay money back.
That's what pissed off the real salesmen that were just trying to make a living, is that people would try to beat the shit out of them over a deal and not realizing that, all right, you gave in just to sell the car. Well, that person ends up going home with a good deal on the car. I went home with $20 for spending 4 hours with you.
Yeah.
You know, it's not, people don't realize all this. They just think, and there is asshole salesmen, but there's asshole people at McDonald's too. It's different, but
Everywhere
just
you
for
go.
Everybody listening, it's not all car salesmen are the way that you think they are. And a lot of times they can't give you any more of a deal. Now, I will say,
Again, we don't control the numbers. The managers do.
right, the used car line,
Oh,
if you're going to buy a used car line, there's a way more of a chance that they're going to club you over the head with something. Because I'll tell you what, every morning when I sold cars, they would give you a list of all the used cars that we had. They would tell on one side how much we paid for it, and they would suggest a price of how much that's what they wanted to sell it for. Well, before I did anything, I would throw on like $1,000 or $2,000 onto the sale price right before we even started talking. So what I could do is, if you came in to buy that used car, you say, hey, give me $1,000. We talked for a couple hours. You said, I'll do it for $1,000 off. Well, I'll give you that $1,000 off because I added it to begin with. I still made an extra $1,000, so everybody was happy with me. And that's
on used cars, you already have. You're talking some used cars,
right?
You could have anywhere
$3,000, $4,000, $5,000 sometimes.
That's if you took.
Yep.
There's a lot of times you take trades in on people. There's been times I took trades in, and you gave them literally nothing for the trade. On paper, it showed that you gave them $5,000 for the car.
That's another thing about that's another. Well, I don't know if it's a ripoff. It ain't really even the dealership's fault. But used cars, basically anything over 100,000 miles, you might as well figure you're getting $100 for. It's garbage.
Man, I could show you. I gave you $10,000 for it on paper, but I'm telling you right now,
Right.
I gave you nothing for the
and that's
car.
another. So, anyways, before we get off track, used cars. If you go to buy a used car, you better do your fucking homework, because that you could knock them out of the park with that. There was times I'd make $1,500 to $2,500
Off of one
per
car. Yeah.
On used cars. So if you're going to get ripped off by a salesman, most likely it's going to be when you're buying a used car.
I had a one time I clubbed them so hard on a used car I couldn't get it financed. Well, not me. I wasn't the finance.
It wasn't
manager.
worth what the fucking bank was going to let.
The bank was literally like, we're not going to finance $20,000 on a 6-year-old car, or whatever. So it worked out because I just called up the customer. I was like, "Great news! We were able to get you a better finance rate."
Yeah.
That's how we justified it. So they thought, "Oh, we're getting a better deal." Realistically, it was because I jacked the price up so fucking high that the bank wouldn't even fund it, so I couldn't get you bought.
So here's the difference to anybody listening. This is why we say, like, if you go to buy a new car, you have a lot more control. Well,
I think nowadays you have more control.
You have more control on a used car of getting yourself ripped off, because there's not a whole lot we can do on a new car. A salesman can do on a new car. Used cars, if you're going to buy a used car, your best bet on that is probably to do your fucking homework, for one. That's the major thing. Or, well, you don't really want to buy off a private seller because you never know what kind of shit you're getting. At least at a dealership, we got to go through it, and there's some type of a 30-day, something. Right, you got a little bit more of a leg to stand on.
Plus, you could buy an extended through the finance guy.
But as far as used cars go, that's where you're going to get ripped off.
And
if you don't do a lot of homework.
Leasing, you get ripped off too.
Do you really?
Oh yeah.
Well, at least that white truck, yeah. And I guess I don't know. I don't really get ripped
People don't
off,
understand.
I didn't really
People
get a
don't-
good deal either.
Typically, people don't understand leasing unless they've been doing it for years and that's all they do, and then they start to learn how to do it. But somebody just, I've been buying my cars, but now I'm, moving closer to work, so I don't drive as much, so I think I want to lease now. They got no fucking clue what's going on in that paperwork. Those are the ones where you come in, they'll be like, I want $10,000 for my trade. I show them $10,000 on paper, but I gave them $500 for the fucking thing. And then I turn around and you sell that as a used car, and you make stupid money on it.
Yeah. Well, there's some tips for you.
Yeah, it's ups and downs.
Anyway, there's good ways to go about it. There's bad ways to go about it. You get ripped off on a used car. You typically won't get ripped off on a new car. You'll think you did.
You can't really. It's so
You'll
hard.
think you got ripped off, but you really can't. There's not a whole, like I said, there's such a little amount of markup that we can't make a whole lot of money off of you, and you can't get a really good deal because it's about what.
Everything's expensive now anyway. I mean,
Right. Well,
these
especially, things are a lot different now.
trucks going 50, 60, 70 grand. That's insane.
So that was the issue with that. A couple years, probably a year ago when COVID first hit, and there was this chip shortage. People were searching for used cars. They were starting to pay people big money for used cars.
Prices went up then.
That's a difference. That's when you go and you could trade in your car for a lot more money. I knew people that bought cars, and for the first time in history I ever remember, they could go to a dealership and trade their car in for more money than they fucking bought it for 2 or 3 years ago, and put it. People were trading their shit in even if they liked it, just because they were getting $1,000 more on a trade in than they bought it for. So it's like stupid not to.
It was worth it. It was a no-brainer.
That ended quick though, because from what I understand, a couple.
Well, how
of
are you going to get out from under them now? Now you're going to go try to sell a used car. It's $30,000 brand new.
Well, and they could sell it because nobody could find cars.
Yeah, but eventually you're not going to be able to.
That's my point that I was going to say, is that it ends because now they have a lot full of fucking cars that they paid way too much for. All of a sudden, this chip starts coming back again. That's why this basically ended this whole. I mean, I guess you could still do some good deals, but it's basically gone now because people are so afraid to get a lot full of fucking cars they paid way too much for, not be able to sell them. They got to eat it. Done.
Same thing's going to happen with houses. People paying people paying thousands, hundreds of thousands over on houses.
Yep.
Well, when that market crashes, bud, now you got a $500,000 house that's worth $250,000,
or even levels out at that point. Like
if you're lucky.
If the car market levels out, they're still going to have paid so much more, and there's such a little markup in them anyway. There's not a whole lot you could. So I think dealerships are getting this, are scaring the shit out of them, and they're starting to go back on this buying up, giving you big money for a trade in. Mm-hmm. So that's a whole bunch of shit. You could take that how you want, use it as tips, or maybe it makes you hate car salesmen even more, or whatever. I don't know, but that's a whole shit. That's right from 2 car salesmen that used to do it, don't do it anymore. So it makes no fucking difference to me if you listen to me or not.
Quite honestly, as it comes down, I'm just like everybody else now. I can't stand salesmen now.
Yeah.
Just because now I actually and I could go on for hours and hours of shit because, like I said, I did it for like 10 years. You did it for quite a while, and you even actually did more to me though. Not only did you sell cars, you worked in the service department as well, which I never did. So you see it.
That's a whole nother episode.
You see it from that side as well, which I don't. So
when you sold a car to somebody, typically people were happy they were getting a new nice car. Well, then 4 months later, when something breaks and they come in to see me at the service department,
warranty or something,
they're fucking pissed because now their brand new toy is no good. So I always got the shit end of people, the thing. But there's a lot of shit in there, and there's a lot of stuff on YouTube, and the news have done a lot of things on that. But like the upsell was always the big thing. So somebody would come in, and you guys know this. A lot of you guys know this as well as I do. It's not a secret. But you go into a dealership or any shop really, and you go in for an oil change and new windshield wipers. And next thing you know, the guy comes out or the girl comes out, and they're trying to sell you a fucking transmission flush, new tires, new brakes, the whole nine. Do your own research on that, and do that shit when you want to do it. This could be a whole nother episode talking about that shit.
That's what we could go on forever with this stuff.
Yeah, but just a generalized tip because we're about out of time. But when you go in to get your car serviced at a dealership, first of all, a dealership's probably going to cost more than the mom and pop place.
Hands down, absolutely.
However, at a dealership,
guaranteed
it's going to be more. But their work is guaranteed, and you have to have a certain certification to work at like a Ford dealership or a Chevy. So they're going to probably know a little bit more than a mom and pop guy that works on Volkswagen one day and a Hyundai the next day, and these guys know what they're working on. They know that they probably can get it done a little quicker.
Because they focus on
more
that
parts
they basically focus on that one car, like what you're saying. Like I don't know if they necessarily know more because there's some mechanics out there. We got some buddies who are mechanics that they could work on any car out there. They're pretty knowledgeable. But when you work on nothing but, say, a Kia all day, every day, you know that car inside and out. That's all.
Well, it comes in for a rattle, and you could say, "Oh, I remember this. This happened 3-4 other times to me."
The Optima 3 months ago had the same thing.
Right. So shit like that, when they work on the same thing, it does help you, but you're gonna pay for that. But I guess my main advice with this is when you go in to get brakes put on,
don't let them upsell you.
Just put the brakes on. Do the whole thing. This comes down to whether it's car
put the brakes
sales,
on. He was going to say what?
The whole thing I'm trying to get across to people, whether it be sales or service, is to do your own research and know what you're doing before you. That's the best thing you can do because their job is to make money. Your job is to get shit fixed for as cheap as possible. Their job is to fix it for as most as they can get out of it.
Do you think you made more money on the sales end of
service
it?
By far, no question.
That's
question.
I was curious. I'd like to know.
Because service. So here's the thing with those upsells and shit. Somebody would come in and do a brake job. I'd get salary, always. So I'd make whatever.
You had to get commission too, didn't you?
I'd make like $750. No, well, yeah, but it came with them upsells. So if somebody came in, got brakes, and said no to everything, I would make the same money if you didn't come in and get brakes. It made no difference to me. But where I started making money was people would come in, and then you'd want them to do the tranny flush, would make me like $25. The 60,000 mile service would do this. The 80,000, the 100,000. Well, you know, but some of them were big. Like Ford had this one that they did this certain thing. I'd make $100. So if I had 3 people a week come in and do that, I'd make $300 just from selling them to you. Not to mention my salary. So you could make big money if you were that guy and you were a shark. And there was some people made $3,000 a week.
Did you get any bonuses or anything? Like, so if you sold, let's say for the whole month, you sold 50 tranny flushes, did you get another number on top of that or no?
No, because they gave you so much right there in the beginning. I think it never bothered me that they didn't get a bonus. So like car sales, if you sell 30, 40 cars a month, you get a certain bonus for meeting that quota. In service, you didn't get those. I didn't anyway. Maybe the sales managers did.
Well, okay, another side of it real quick, because I didn't do this, so I'm actually curious. How, I know you just said they didn't, but so other side of it, let's say they say, okay, your shop made $150,000 this month. Did you guys get a bonus for that? Or no? You got no bonuses whatsoever?
No, I don't remember in the service department the years I did that. I don't ever remember getting. Other dealerships probably different.
That's true.
You probably do. But what I did for as long as I did, maybe now it's different, but what I did when I did it and for however long I did it, I never got bonuses. My bonus was if I could sell you this service,
cabin air
service.
filters, shit, there's $5, whatever.
Yep. So that, but you could make big money on that shit. Those upsells, you could make enough money
like
I never needed bonuses.
I feel like it would have been harder for you though, like you said.
Well,
it's hard enough to sell them a new car, but when they come in, even if it's for a normal service that they know they got to have done, so they know that a car uses brakes and rotors, so you got to have it done. Well, when you bring it in and it's $300 to do brakes and rotors on a car, and now you're trying to sell them a $100 tranny flush, they're going to be like, no, $300 for brakes and rotors.
Well, those were tough. Those were tough because they're already spending money. Some people have money though, especially with Lincoln, and that's why I never, because there was one side did Lincoln, one side did Kia, and I never wanted to move to Kia because, no offense, but typically back then, people that bought Kias didn't have a whole lot of extra money to spend. So when it came time for upsells, you couldn't get a lot out of them.
The Lincoln
and I get it, but Lincoln side, they're buying $60,000, $80,000 cars. When they come in, you tell them you need brakes, tires, this and that.
$1,200, $2,000 bills.
That's
probably
nothing to them. So they just throw it right on their $60,000, $80,000 car. What's another $1,200, $1,500? So it's a lot easier there. But that's actually leads me to one reason I quit that too. It was the same reason basically I quit car sales, is because it came to the point where everybody wanted you to rip everybody off. And that was the name of the game. And I just couldn't do that all the time. I needed to make money, so I do it enough.
You want to make a paycheck to live, but you don't want to be a shark or a greedy asshole either.
Right, so somebody would come in for an oil change and they legitimately had fucking leafs and shit all in their air filter. I would upsell that, and I'd make good money doing that type of stuff. Or if their fucking tranny fluid was black or not even there. There was times that people didn't even have fucking oil in their car and they came in to get tires put on. It's like, well, that shit I didn't mind making money off of because I was actually giving them a service. Like, you don't have oil. Your fucking air filter is completely clogged, and I mean it. Like, it really, between you and me, I don't have to sell. But that stuff I didn't mind, and I made great money. But it came down to the point, there was different levels. There was people who came in for oil change. There's people who came in for brakes. We're going to spend good money. You could still upsell them. But the people that would come in because their transmission wasn't shifting into third gear, this is what made me quit, basically, was that, well, that ain't the only reason. But that always bothered me about what I did there, because when you come in because your car wouldn't shift anymore, we'd fix that. And then before they leave, the manager would go, now try to get the 60,000 mile thing. And I'm thinking to myself, this person just spent $3,000 on a fucking transmission rebuild. And now you want me to get another 100? Now, granted, it would have helped my paycheck, sure. Yeah, but I didn't have the fucking heart to go to these people. They didn't want that to happen to begin with.
Some people, I know, and sir, I'm sure.
Oh, taking loans out and shit. I was just going to say, for it?
Probably could barely just pay that.
Sure. I mean, every Lincoln customer didn't have money. It was Mercury, too. And a lot, that was that's basically a Ford.
Or here's the thing, maybe they had money, but it's for a reason. So
right, they don't want.
They might have 10 grand in the bank, but they don't have $3 grand.
And
really.
I would hear
they didn't plan on spending $3 grand on a transmission, so it still hurts.
I would look at it like me. If I had to do that, the last thing I'd want to do is spend more money on it. Even if I needed a fucking oil change, like, well, let me just figure out this $3,500 I just spent on a transmission first. I'll come back in a week or something. But management, they always sell. It's like, no, I'm fucking out of here. I'm sick of selling all this shit to these people that are in a. A lot of them.
That, and I feel like
we're in a bad place to begin with.
That, and I feel like not being, I guess maybe judgmental would be the word, but I feel like too, when you sold the Lincolns and Mercuries, that was typically more elderly. I feel.
Yeah, a
Not-
lot of
not
people
always,
didn't want
I mean-
a Crown Vic or whatever they were.
You know what I mean? I guarantee there's probably people
Or a town car, like a
middle
town
aged
car.
or maybe late 40s, early 50s that would buy them too.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel like typically it was always the elderly that would buy
It was
those.
older people, yeah.
You know what I mean? So that I guess
Well,
that would make it
I
worse.
won't like it was like Lincoln was typically. I mean, it wasn't always, but there was typically lawyers, doctors, them type of people, and that. I mean, there's no two
they
ways
were
around it.
they were comfortable cars. They were nice cars.
They just made more money than a guy working at McDonald's typically wasn't going to buy an $80,000 Lincoln. I mean, it's just what it is. It's not. I'm not making fun of anybody. It happens.
Hey,
the way it is.
if you're working, I don't care if you're
Sure,
you're
good for
making
you,
$5
but-
an hour or 55. If you're working, I got respect for you.
But you know what? Them people with a lot of money, that's probably how they had so much money, is some of them were fucking assholes. People with money don't want to spend a fucking dime. People that had less money would spend more money than you know what I mean? They
Well, they didn't want to spend it because you wouldn't upsell them.
Well, it's like my grandfather. He'll wait until gas goes down 3 cents to go get gas before he, you know what I mean? He just won't go anywhere because it's 3. It's like, Grandpa, or he'll go out of his way. You spend more money to go out of your way to get the money, but it's that old school. He's old.
This is the mentality.
That was even different for him because he kind of grew up in the Depression, where nobody had anything. I mean, you ate every piece of the cow. You did everything you had to do to.
Great, you were eating potatoes for.
Yeah, I mean that's
all that would grow
that's
because
all
no
you ate.
rain. The
Right.
Great Depression.
So it was. There was a lot of. Well, the Great Depression wasn't a drought.
No, I know, but there was no rain during it, though. I'm saying.
So the Great Depression happened because of that. So everybody moved out west. Everybody started taking up the land and tilling that land, and because there was no grass, it turned into dust.
Nothing would grow.
Right.
But potatoes.
Yep. And then a drought happened at the same time, and you had all these dust storms and everything. And because of that, it just kind of happened over the entire country, and nobody had any fucking money or food or nothing. It was a horrible time. But anyways, you ate whatever you ate. And that
Potatoes
actually,
will grow in just a bucket, by the way.
corn will grow in just about any type of it won't always go good, but corn is one type of plant that will grow in just about any continent.
Could you
anywhere
stop
in the
fidgeting
world.
around? I can hear that.
Well, I can hear your nose squeaking when you breathe too.
My
but
nose isn't
didn't
squeaking.
bother
I don't know what
saying.
you're
It's
talking
not
about.
anymore. It's not anymore. No, it's not anymore. But so that was another reason between ripping people off. I felt like I was ripping people off, and that was in 2008 when that big crunch happened. The recession, we had that recession, and I got laid off for that. I remember I got laid off, and I had given them not a huge amount of time, but probably 4 or 5 years. It was very loyal. You know what I mean? Did whatever, and then as soon as that
Sucks.
happened,
That pisses
I was
you-
like
that
the
would piss
first
you
one to
off.
go. So I went and drove truck for a little while, and then a couple months later, they called me and wanted me to come back.
It's like, fuck you.
I came back only because I didn't like that trucking company I was working for. I worked there for like 2 weeks, and then I quit again. Because at that point, I didn't give a fuck. I wasn't going to be loyal to them. I was the first one they fucking dropped. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of that probably has to do with me not wanting to sell it. You know, why would they keep me when they could have...
You're not making them any money.
Right, the other guy didn't mind ripping off a 90-year-old guy and just fucking hammering him over the head with this and that. Where they knew with me, it was like, oh, I got to fight him to get him to sell this shit. Well, say what you want about me, but if the person doesn't need a fucking oil change, I'm not going to charge them $100 for this fucking service. You know, I just felt bad for him because
You
I
could
knew
sleep
how it
at
was
night.
for me. Right,
You
I
could
slept
sleep
at
at
night. So fuck him, I was out. So that's it. That was it for work, and that's it for this fucking episode. We're done. I've ranted and raved. I'm getting a headache.
Yeah, you want to go get some of your pizza?
Yep,
I'm going home.
I'm gonna get some pizza. But anyway, we are in the top 4%, so that's good. I didn't even know that until Mike brought that up and we looked at it, so that's good. The Patreon thing, I've mentioned that a few times, but I haven't started it yet. I might change that around a little bit. Obviously, you don't have to give us money. If you wanted to, you can go to Patreon and help with that. It just helps make us get better cameras and shit. Don't do it if you don't want to. Everything will continue to be free. However, in the future, we will probably I'll probably put like episodes that will come out early on there, so you can see the episode early if you don't feel like waiting. It'll be ad free, so you don't have to sit through the ads on either YouTube.
Maybe if we do, if we end up getting, maybe if there's any kind of, and this is just maybe a possibility, if there's bloopers or any maybe behind the scenes stuff.
Right, that
'Cause
shit'll go there.
We let this camera run 20 minutes sometimes, and we let it record our voices. We could be sitting here for 20, 30 minutes before we actually start the show. So we could throw that in there maybe.
Yep, that type of shit will
just,
be in there.
You know, or maybe
different things every so often. We'll probably pick a person and just give them a free shirt or something like that when we get. But that's all in the future. With
when
like
we take
merch
our
and shit.
break, we could let them see what we're doing when we take our break.
Sure.
You know, whatever. Yeah, there's possibilities. But
So there will be an advantage to having that, but right now it's more of just if you like the show and you want to support us, that's a great place to do it and help us out.
and we appreciate it.
And it's all
Regardless, whether
it's
you
all on
do-
camera, so most of the shit you're gonna see what we bought with it. So it's not like we just go out and buy crack with it. You know what I mean? So it is what it is.
Yeah, we wouldn't do that on camera anyway.
Right. We wouldn't put any.
We're
of that
smarter than that
on camera.
Shit.
So that's going to be, it is Wednesday, December 8th. You will be hearing this on Thursday, December 9th, because something got screwed up and we had to record this a day ahead of time. So I got to get off of here right now.
Well, it'll be
I gotta
really
edit
it'll be
and
the
get this
10th.
shit
They actually
done.
hear it, right? Thursday at midnight. It'll be the 10th if today's the 8th.
What's today? Say Tuesday or Wednesday?
Today's
Update-
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
It'll come out midnight Thursday, but that's really the 10th. That's Friday morning.
Tomorrow's Thursday.
Yeah.
Today's Wednesday. Tomorrow's Thursday. It comes out Thursday. So
You-
it comes
you said
out
it
tonight at midnight.
Yeah, but you said you'll be hearing this Thursday the 9th. They're not going to hear it Thursday the 9th. They'll hear it Friday the 10th.
Tomorrow's Thursday and it's the 9th.
Midnight is Friday the 10th, is it not?
These come out Mondays and Thursdays. Tomorrow's Thursday.
Oh, I thought
Holy
I thought we
fuck.
were, now I'm like you. I thought we did on Fridays again. Now I'm
Oh
like,
my God. So if anybody wants to be a co-host, apparently the both of us are getting fucking fired.
and you know
around
what?
here.
Now that I'm thinking, yeah, we're all over the fucking place.
Wow.
And you're right, because you said you're going to be up till about the time to load it tonight anyway.
Yeah, because by the time I get done with the video and the audio, I'm going to stop and eat
Holy
right now.
fuck.
But it's going to be.
Now people listening are going, these fucking guys, I don't know how they do it.
They don't even know what the fuck day it is. They're going to be writing down all sorts of shit.
We
on
don't. Well, we literally said, what was it in the first episode? You go, we don't know what the fuck we're doing either, but here
That's
you
right.
go. Well, here it is.
No.
We don't know what the fuck we're doing, and here you go.
no fucking idea what we're doing. And
As always, to everybody, thank you for listening. The likes, the shares, the subscribers, everything.
I got an email.
We appreciate it.
We got an email from somebody. Let me look it up quick so I can mention.
Well, let's do that then, quick, before we.
Because I almost forgot it, but I
Well,
want.
while he's looking it up, though,
because I
but
appreciate that.
as we say every time, though, seriously, we appreciate everybody listening, all the likes, shares. We wish you guys would comment more and reach out to us more through the email. We really would appreciate that. Interact with us a little more. Maybe give us some suggestions on what you guys want to hear as a topic. Maybe suggestions for the show.
Fuck 'em,
anything.
I don't care if they do.
Yeah.
But this guy is cool. Phil messaged us and just said basically he loves the show, and he was talking about how the levels, the sound was a little quiet, but we knew that, and I actually bumped it up on,
Yeah,
on
you fixed
episode
that.
11. So hopefully that sticks through here with that.
But see that case in point right
So
there, though.
right, because we don't know a lot. You
Yeah,
know?
he
So
says,
if
hey,
you
it's
don't tell
levels,
us, we
levels
don't
are a
know.
little low. You saw that. We adjusted it. Hopefully it's better. If
Yep.
it's not, let us know again. But that's the stuff. If there's any problems, concerns, or anything that you guys want to see, or just anything, just reach out to us. It's Wes and Mike Podcast at gmail.com. We got the Facebook.
If you want, I'll fire Mike right now. So just let
Yeah.
us know.
Write an email or comment. Yeah,
Let us
do
know.
it, please.
All right,
do
I'm
me a
outta here.
favor.
I'm hungry for pizza.
Yeah.
Bye.